Yo, what is up, everyone? It's the Broccoli and Breakdowns podcast. I'm Tanner, and this is episode number 11 with Matt and Dustin of Seeking Solace. Just a preview for this one, we discuss Matt going all coyote ugly and playing guitar on a bar, recording 2 singles with Wade Harris and in Dustin's apartment, and a new music video coming your way. You can find them on Spotify, YouTube, social media, and check out their website, seekingsolaceband.com. You are currently listening to their song, The End We Deserve. As always, you can listen to all episodes of the Broccoli and Breakdowns podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, and all other major streaming services. Thank you all so much for tuning in.
Dude, May 1st was SpongeBob's 20th anniversary. Did you know that?
Is that why?
I don't know why that's funny. That was a real thing. I didn't mean that as a joke. I was trying to inform the class.
Is that why you guys did the SpongeBob SquarePants at... It was SpongeBob SquarePants, right?
Did we do that?
No, that was still Surgeon.
No, we did Game of Thrones.
No, it was, you guys did the Game of Thrones theme song.
Yeah.
But...
Twice. Because we're assholes.
Someone was like, who lives in a... Or someone said something about SpongeBob.
Oh, you did do that. When they couldn't figure out how to use a helix. Dude, I swear, I changed nothing through the entire 10-minute process. And all of a sudden it started working. And like we both played dumb. I'm dead sure he realized whatever dumbass thing he was doing and then just didn't want to say, like, I'm an idiot. But like, I didn't change anything that entire time.
I was like,
is it on? Is it plugged in?
I was like, yes. Like, can you prove it? I was like, yes, I can.
That's the extent of my knowledge on that thing.
Hey, you know what?
I was looking for lights. I was like, the lights are on.
It looks like the cord's plugged in.
You were like that guy who the car breaks down and doesn't want to admit to his girlfriend that he doesn't know how to work on cars. So goes to the front, opens up the hood, and looks at it, and just bullshits for 10 minutes. We're going to have to call AAA. I tried everything I knew how to do. They just stood there and played on their phone.
That's me.
Yeah.
I open it up, and I'm looking like...
How long do I have to stand here before she thinks I'm not a man? Yeah, exactly.
I see
a lot of that.
That looks hot.
Yeah,
that looks fucking tired. Sorry.
I actually invested in a really nice jack. I have like a $100 jack in my trunk, just for that.
Do you pop tires that often that you had to invest in a $100 jack?
Well, no, but it happened once, and then you realize those shit jacks just.
It's a pain in the ass.
It only takes one time to realize that I never want to go through that again.
Dude, when I was in college, I went to like an Olympic style weightlifting clinic. I was there for a day, and we were lifting it, so I was exhausted. And then I popped a tire on the drive home, and I was still like an hour from getting back. And so then like my back is so tired from all of the workout that I then have to like max effort yank this. What in the hell?
hey,
is in that bottle?
Grey Goose.
I've seen Grey Goose.
Well, you never seen
brown.
brown.
That's actually a direct import of Grey Goose.
That's at the very bottom of the barrel.
It's like black tar Grey Goose.
Yeah, it's the aged version.
Very potent. You can have a swaller if you want.
Very, very potent, like wintergreen.
I was out last night. Somebody offered me to take a dip or something.
You're gonna say do a line, and I was like,
no. That happens pretty frequently.
Hey, bro, you want some blood? Nah, I don't like listening to Post Malone that much.
Gotta say, man, I don't care. I like Post Malone.
I do too.
I don't care who knows it. He makes good music.
Musician.
He makes good music.
Yeah, for people who want to listen to it. And that's all that matters.
I raise my hand.
For people whoever wants to listen to it. It's just not my thing. Because he's auto-tuned all to hell. And
who is it?
I agree, but like I'd like for it to not sound that way, where it's really obvious. Like it's.
Well, he uses it as an effect.
Oh, I know what he's doing. I know it. I just hate that sound. I hate that sound.
That's fair.
I've hated it since T-Pain basically made that like famous. Like that was the thing. Because T-Pain can sing beautifully. He's incredible.
The NPR acoustic?
Yeah, it's fucking
So
incredible.
good.
You're sitting there listening like, what?
Did he do a Tiny Desk concert?
Yeah.
Wow, I checked
It
that
is
out.
Yeah.
so good.
And then on top of that, he could play pretty much any
Yeah,
instrument.
he's so talented, and it's just like, but it ruins it because I hate that effect. And like Lil Wayne started doing it. It's like everybody and their grandma's still
Lil
doing
Wayne.
I
it.
don't think Lil Wayne should have done it.
Lil Wayne, dude.
If you can't sing, though.
That rock
It
album he did.
certainly
It's
helps.
pretty awesome. Like I can't really sing that well. So I know like in recording they pitched.
If you fucking heard him sing, he can sing great.
He can.
You can auto-tune the demo.
My awful singing. I played it for them earlier and I muted all of those tracks, but you guys don't get to hear my vocals. That's private.
That's what.
I did everything I could to try to make those sound good. I put like a ton of reverb and delay on them. I compressed
That's the first thing you do.
I compressed
actually.
the shit
if
out
you
of
want
it.
to sound good, just add some reverb and delay, and that how like just make it as big as possible.
And then I was like, oh yeah, it still sounds bad because I'm not in pitch. 'Cause I
You
can't
know what I
sing.
know that actually I don't know, this is so random, but the worst band I've ever seen live vocally.
Asking Alexandria.
No. Why did I just start this without remembering what the name of the band is called? Oh, Too Close to Touch. I don't know if you've ever heard of them.
I've heard of them.
Yes.
Yeah, they're pretty good. I like
I like their stuff that's recorded.
Yeah, it's bad live.
But man, I don't know if it was just like that night, but I literally walked out of the concert and went and sat outside. And a lot of people did too because he was so, like, the guy was so off pitch, like way off. Instrumentally, it sounded good, but
Could he just not hear himself, you think?
I
Or just
really-
literally...
It
was
makes you wonder
so
if it was a
bad.
monitor situation.
It could have been like, but
Yeah.
the problem is like I don't know that, and
Yeah.
and their music is very vocally centric, so it's like
Yeah.
what makes their stuff good is him.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like
That should be a priority.
yeah, like
Was it the same, like, tone?
no, like we're talking way off.
Oh,
It
That
was-
would sound totally different.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
We're not talking about pitchy as in like slightly flat, slightly
Yeah.
sharp. We're talking about like he was just kind of like
Guessing.
pushing it.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, where are you at? Like, do you know what you're listening to right now?
Yeah.
Like, can you not hear? Like we're like
It's blame Anthony Green, man. When he came started coming out, everybody wouldn't sound like him. Had to be. It's so high pitch of screaming or singing. It's like, I don't sound like him. And everybody just like tries to develop that, I guess.
Yeah, I just can't do it. I don't know. I've tried.
Anywho, shows. What do you guys got coming up?
Let's see. We got May 18th at Kaboom with Discoveries, Continuations, Still Searching, Angels and
Angels and Demons, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Let's make sure I got that right. That's gonna be a wild show. He's not gonna be there. Matt will be
Ooh.
gone.
Are you guys
We're doing. We got well.
for fill-in?
It'll be either or. So technically, we've reached out.
Give you a guitar?
Huh? I could probably learn some of it. I can't learn and play it. I can't play and sing. I guess. That's what I'm trying to say. Maybe we'll just do it instrumental only.
The thing is, like, more of the lead melodies are something I play, which is actually better. It's easier to drop
Yeah.
that and still have the chords in the
Yeah,
songs
yeah.
than it is the other way around. So if it had to be a 4,
That's
then
not too
it's
bad.
okay. I'll be in Canada for a buddy's bachelor party. One of my best friends from high school. We grew up together, so I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, Montreal, baby, French Canada.
Ooh.
Yeah, and then we got that one, and then we've got the Battle of Bands for the spot on Summer Slaughter.
Which isn't announced yet.
What?
So, that's
Oh, yeah.
alright. Fuck it.
Get on that?
I mean, I already
We have an
Well, I mean,
announcement
like,
to
just in
make.
case, like,
We have an
anyone would be
important
looking for
announcement
that,
to make.
Like,
Yeah.
it's not like a.
the show's not announced, but
Yeah,
It's like June 22nd, I believe.
yeah. So we're lining up.
Oh,
what-
and 21st. We actually have a show the day before too.
we're lining up what our summer's gonna look like right now. 'Cause we just came off like a really good string of shows.
Yeah.
We opened up for the Browning. We opened up for We Came as Romans. We did like that show Those Sleeper at Emerge and a couple locals within that. We did that one at Clayton Beverage. When we had Nova Mortis and Reason to Fine and
Ooh, that was,
was
a,
awesome.
and then also we went Played by Kings was on that show, and they had also brought us down right after that to South Carolina. We did a show with them for our first out-of-state shows. We just came off a really, really good string of shows, and so we're regrouping right now and getting the plan together for the summer.
That's what's
Yeah.
up. That's awesome.
We have Bad Omens on the 21st.
That's right, yeah.
So
Ooh,
the
okay.
21st. This will be that'll be a fun weekend because we haven't done one of those in about a year.
Where's it
back to
A
back?
back to back, yeah.
Where's
so
it
Drunk Horse for the Bad Omens
Okay.
show.
Fayetteville. Okay.
Played by Kings is actually on that. I saw
Nice.
that. So that'd be really fun.
If you guys are looking for more people for your podcast, Played by Kings are really cool dudes. And
I-
they're all really
yeah.
young, and they're just like way better than they should be for that age. they're absolutely awesome. Like they're just as good of a band as we are, and they're like some of them are kids.
I was talking about him, I think with the one with Marcus. We were talking about him because I saw them at the Clayton show with you guys.
Yeah.
I was blown away by them.
They're great.
Because they're so young.
They're
Yeah.
great.
And I was their singer.
Yeah.
So good. You know what's really weird about that is because like I like really like his style and how good he is, and then he comes up to me like anytime we've played with him, he's like, "Dude, I'm so excited to hear you," and it's just like, what?
It's because you're a good singer. You forget that.
I don't know. Don't agree with this.
See, I think the thing that I like the most about your vocals is how, like, raw you can tell it. You can tell it's very like you're going for it.
Yeah.
Like, because like by the end of the set you're done.
Yeah.
Like, I can tell you're like the set is done, and that's what I love the most. Like,
Some of our best shows have been 20-minute sets. The kind of thing when there was like we were the worst local opener spot. And we just got really hype and go so hard for 20 minutes that we're just like sweating out of breath by the end of it.
I
And
actually
Justin like couldn't have done another song if
Yep.
we were asked to do one.
I remember specifically. I guess like for me, like when it started to change, like when we really started to like pick up on like having like an intense show was at Drunk Horse. It was sometime in the summer, and there was like maybe
Nobody.
5 people. There was like maybe
Nobody
5
was
people in
there.
that place, and like we just all started like doing stuff like out on the floor, but people were like whoever was there was right there with us.
Uh-huh.
And it was like this moment of like we had this like really awesome show, super high energy with like 5 people there. But like I felt like since then we like found something. It's like this is us. Like this is what like we just started doing. And then like ever since then, the biggest like feedback I ever get from anybody is not necessarily like how good the music is. And most people say like they really enjoy our stuff, but it's the crowd interaction and like the just wanting to be a part of the set and putting on a show, like doing what you, like people come to see you do. Because no offense to anybody, and I'm not calling out anybody for this, but
you sure?
no. I personally, like, when I go to a show, I really hate seeing stale bands, like just not moving or doing anything. I understand, like, when you're playing complex music,
If you're playing technical death metal,
it's hard.
I'm not expecting you to move.
No.
I'm not-
I understand
Maybe put a
that,
knee
but
up on the
And that's
stool.
something that like a lot of our music is. It's fun to play and we enjoy playing it, but it's right on that line where it's not too technical that it's getting to where we have to stand still to play it.
yeah,
Like it's something I'm focusing on if I'm running around and jumping or like stepping up on things or going into the crowd, or like in South Carolina I played the lead part for one of our choruses standing on the bar. Like it's just technical enough that
it was crazy.
you're focusing on that, but it's
What
not
show
so
was
technical you can't do it. That was the Played by King show when they brought us down to local 507 Live?
507 Live, yeah.
507 Live, yeah, it was that one there. And that was it was all local bands. It was all North and
Mm-hmm.
South Carolina bands. Really, really good turnout for that show. And everybody played 45-minute sets. So they had it well done that we had a lot to do. And like, yeah, it was, I think when was that in the set? Was that our second song or our third song we played? It was pretty
yeah.
early in the 45 minutes. And I jumped out there and like stood up on the bar for that. And it was...
And then like Dimitri was on a pool table, I think.
Yeah.
He did something on a pool
Well,
table.
you guys always disappear halfway through the set.
Yeah, you look up on the set and there's nobody on the stage.
I think there was actually a point. There was a point. I remember. I was
just-
out
it's
with
just
Riley.
Riley.
Riley was the only person up there.
Yeah, you're just gonna see one guy.
And I felt
behind the
bad. I was
drums.
like, Riley, I love you. I'm gonna come back up there. Like, I'll at least. I like
give him
try.
the stage. He gets the stage. He gets the
That's-
spotlight.
it's cool. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's,
Well, it kind of came out of playing a lot of shows when we were the first opener, and by the time that like the bigger local bands played, people were moving and moshing, and then by the time
Yeah.
the headliners came, it was a hype show. But for us, it was just like watching people getting warmed up. There's only so much energy. So like, well, you know what? If they're not going to mosh, we'll mosh.
Yep.
And then from there, that started to kind of become a thing. Even now that we're playing some slightly better spots on sets, we just kept that same thing going.
Yeah.
And then at that point, the crowd's a little bit warmed up, and things get even better.
Yeah, I can't stand. I don't care where I'm at, or like what position we are, like in a lineup or whatever. If I can't look out in the crowd and like see no movement and like be okay with it.
Nah.
And I try to make that a point. Almost every show, I say something about that. Like I just find that it's really important to like learn how to command a crowd, like make them move. And if they're not moving by what you're saying, get out there and make it happen. Like those sleeper show, like it was like a little stuff going on, and then I was just like, no. So like on a breakdown, just like stepped off the stage. It's like I will be here myself. Let's do this. Like let's have a good time. Like I know there's a bunch of other bands playing after us that are awesome, but like get hype with us too. We're here to like have a good time. Like let's have a good time.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember? Because we all still remember in those shows when there's nobody there, like literally nobody. The first ever Seeking Solace show, before Dustin was in the band as our vocalist, there was one person. There were 3 bands, no one in the band even brought like their girlfriend or anything, and there was one person who paid to be there. It was at Bob Coughlin's property out in Selma.
Oh, Selma, okay.
And it was on. Worse than it being in that house where like it could have been like okay, all the bands are in there and it feels like something. It was outdoors in this field that could easily fit 2,000 people, and there was one person, and we were bad. Like it wasn't just that we played to one person, but like it was the first time we played these songs live, and we were bad. Like we played awful to nobody, and it was the worst way you could possibly start as a band. And things have. I mean, I don't know why it took so long to get our act together, but we finally got something going on that reasonably looks like we know what we're doing.
I think my favorite one of you guys leaving the stage was the Tetrarch show, where you and Dimitri both bail off the stage at the same time while playing in the middle of a riff. So you get like, you know how they have like the speakers right in front on the sides. So you like step off that and then just jump off and cross each other. I was like, that was so smooth. I was blown away by that.
Yeah,
then you broke a string.
Yeah, and, like credit to them for letting me borrow a guitar. That was just hilarious. Like we're about to play another song, and the way we have our set set up is it rolls the whole time. Like Riley with the click track in his ears, and the interludes that play behind what Dustin's talking, the crowd in between. It rolls. We press play once, and if it's a 30-minute set, it is 30 minutes to the second. Sure. So as the rest of us were tuning or changing guitars, you can't fall behind. So it was like real quick. I didn't have time to even figure out if I had a pack of strings in my guitar bag. It was like, all right, can I borrow a guitar real quick? And they gave me one. And I usually play with the guitar kind of like right at the bottom of my t-shirt. This guitar was like below my knees, and I was just like, this is gonna be impossible. And so I have it up on. I have like my foot on the monitor. It's up on my leg. And then I was like, at one point, I kind of got into it. I wanted to step back to like actually get into the verse of this song, and it just falls down. And I can't even reach the strings. I have to pull that back up. And so at that point, I just stood still for the rest of it. That was probably the most stagnant I've been in a show ever. But yeah, credit for them for just like, I was like, I need a guitar and drop C. And they're like, we got you, man. Like immediately they jumped out. And it was one of them. I don't even remember which one of the guitarists it was, but they just threw one right at me. And so the show went on.
Yeah, I remember that was really cool.
Yeah.
That was a good show.
So you guys, you just like time everything out beforehand. You're like 30 minutes, like do your interludes, do your click tracks, and just go.
Yeah.
Because I'm honestly, especially when you're playing bigger shows, like time is like staying on time is important. And I think like we want to be as respectful to every other band that plays. You know, you don't want to play over your time. Like keep the show smooth. So like having a set time that is to the T what we're there to play, that works. And that way we cover ourselves and make sure we give respect to everybody else. Because there's nothing more annoying than like a band intentionally playing over, which has happened. Yeah. And even I think when we played with After the Burial at Arizona Pete's, I think like we accidentally played over by like a minute or something like that. Which I know is not really that big of a deal, but like...
Well, it's one of those things that no one tells you when you're starting out, that venue owners, promoters, band managers really care about that. Like if you're supposed to be done by a certain time and you play over, like that cuts into the next band's sound check. And then like it sucks for that band because now it's like, all right, maybe they were supposed to have a 15-minute sound check, and now all right, you guys got 5 minutes. Just that band before being disorganized has cost that next band potentially the sound for their first 2 songs. And so it's really, really good. And the way I got the idea to do it like that when we were putting together tracks and click track for Riley was that's the way August Burns Red does it. One of them mentioned it in an interview. They were saying that like our tracks just go. And if you notice the way that they play a show, that's exactly how it is. Everything is timed up to the second like that. So all those Warped Tour bands that like have a 30-minute set and it ends to the second, if they're using tracks, that's usually how they're doing it. Is it just rolls straight through? I don't know that for sure, but that's my impression, and it's worked well for us. Is the biggest thing.
I never even thought about that.
Yeah, so we have it, and it's great because then with Dustin talking to the crowd between songs, there's like a subtle synth going on in the background, or there's like like a violin or whatever. There's like we've done things with like Game of Thrones music or whatever, and so there's something in the background there that kind of adds to that moment where otherwise it would just be one person talking. And so it makes the set flow really nicely. It keeps there's energy to it, keeps it very engaging, and like I said, it works really well for us right now. So we have no intention of changing that for the time being.
Who puts it together?
I put it together in Reaper, but obviously as a band we decide what the set is going to be.
Yeah.
So at the moment we've got a few kind of defaults. We've got like a 20, a 30, and a 45 minute. And then if we need to change, say we get like a 25-minute set, we then make quick adjustments to those 3 defaults.
Yeah.
Same thing. Once we get new material going, we work that into the set, we'll change what those kind of go-tos are. Or if you're ever going to be doing a tour where you're doing 5 shows in 7 days, same thing, we would set up what those are going to be, and then it's ready to roll every single night. Yeah. So I actually put it into Reaper, but it's something that as the band we decide, okay, what's the best way to make these flow?
Yeah.
All right, we played a show last night, maybe we should switch these 2 songs, and we can make those adjustments pretty quickly.
Yeah, and I do a lot of I like design like the synths and stuff like that. Like, well, obviously not the Game of Thrones ones that we were doing, but like some of the other interludes or stuff that I work on personally. Just messing around.
Yeah,
just coming up with like interesting, weird sounding stuff that might sound good for like a little gap or something.
Right. On normal circumstances, everything you hear is either us playing or something we've created.
Yeah.
But right now, being the last season of Game of Thrones, we
had
had a window when we could put some pretty incredible orchestral music in, and it'd be right in context. So pretty happy to enjoy that for the next couple weeks.
Have you had any problems with that?
Yes.
Yeah, and so
Sleeper, right?
that was at the O Sleeper show. It was not a problem necessarily with the tracks, but it was with running everything DI.
Yeah.
So I no longer use a cab live. I run direct out of a Line 6 Helix, and still don't know exactly what the problem was, but we basically quickly got set up. Probably within 5 minutes, the band was ready to play, but it took the entire 15-minute sound check because it took about 10 minutes to actually figure out
sound check the actuals.
To actually figure out what was wrong with that, and I still don't know what finally they realized there.
Just give it a good smack.
So at one point it started working. I mean, it's kind of thing where, as the drummer, as Riley, he has the hardest job out of any of us because he's got the click track in his ears and he has to stay on. So if he gets off, then a bass drop is going to get triggered at the wrong time, or some synths for a chorus are going to come in when we're still playing a verse. Let's just say. And so as long as he stays on, it's good. And so worst case scenario, if he's getting off, and we can usually feel if it was going to happen there, then you just press pause, play the rest of the song. Normally we've played, I don't know how many dozens of shows, if not more than that, years of shows without having a click. We can play without it.
Do you just have
and then
like
after
markers
that,
then?
Yep, and then after that we'll just go to where we would have been and resumes from there. So it's usually pretty smooth to get back on schedule. But especially now that Riley's gotten comfortable with it, we pretty much always stay on. So we haven't had that issue in quite a while.
Yeah.
Who does the bass drops?
Dustin,
yeah.
Yeah, everything like on the songs that we recorded, the 2 that are out right now, we recorded those in Dustin's apartment, and those were all like he said, all the EDM type production. So like the drops, the synths, everything. That's all from him.
Yeah, that was actually really fun. That was like "Didn't We Deserve." I spent so much, like months on that song because I've never done anything like it, like for that genre. I used to write electronic music when I was younger, but like so that's kind of where my knowledge of it comes from. But that was like so cool because we had the song. The song was we recorded at
with Wade Harris.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I recorded it there.
Wait, when?
So the way it worked was basically
we
we had some songs written, and we decided we wanted to do a single. We wanted to put something out because people were asking us, what you sound like when we were trying to come out to shows and check out our band. We didn't have anything to show them.
Kill switch.
So we decided we're just like
Kill switch.
we decided
Yeah, pretty much.
we decided we'll put out a single, and then we can show people what it's going to sound like, and then from there we'll do an EP. And we really, none of us were super comfortable with recording, and so we asked Wade if he could help us out. And so we tracked guitars, bass, and vocals with Wade, and then in the mixing process, Dustin started kind of playing around with it on his computer at home and was kind of saying like, I think I could work with this here. And then we finished off the rest of it on our own. But like that session we did with Wade, I learned so much from that.
Yeah.
So a lot of how I'm comfortable now with Reaper is from learning how Wade set it up. The way that I run tracks live is actually off of a template that Wade made. So I've changed it to what works for us and our workflow. But it's like we have a lot to thank him for getting that started.
Yeah.
And it was a really cool process because it was just basically friends recording something in a couple of apartments on relatively cheap interfaces, and it sounds. I mean, I think it sounds pretty darn good.
Yeah, and it was cool because that song transformed. Like, man, like that's the way it was recorded. Evolved through the process. So it went from being like, for example, the drums. Like, I remember me and Matt were like, it was like one night we thought we were wrapping up the song at this point.
We were going to release it.
Dude,
Yeah,
just
we were
started.
like this close to get like releasing it, and then I remember saying like, we were like, what do you think? I remember saying like, the verse sucks or something like that. The drums and I was like, I can't figure out.
We didn't know that it was what it was. We couldn't figure out why the verse didn't stand up to the rest of the song. Like we couldn't figure it out.
And nobody will ever get to hear that, which is great because it does sound dull. Because the chorus sound like, especially after I put all the like orchestral stuff into the song, the chorus became huge. Like, I mean, if you listen to the song, it's like, it's very big. It's supposed to be. I'm talking about like the end of the world. Like, what the fuck, you know what I mean? So like, and that was the other thing. It's like being able to like add that stuff into the song changed all of it. And like the perception of the song changed, so it went from being like this one thing, and then we like grew it into this like, it's like our epic. I love that song so much. I mean, it's not the best sounding like quality wise, but just like for as much time as we put into it, and how many changes we made, we really like for example in the verse, the drums were completely changed. Matt, you ended up writing.
So I programmed some MIDI drums to send to Riley, and I was just like, basically like, what do you think of this vibe? And then from there, he transformed that into the part that you actually hear now. And so if you go listen to The End We Deserve, what we have now is, I mean, I don't know how many renditions of that song it actually went through before this actual final product that is what the first thing we put out is, and we used forever, and we still use. And people are like, what do you sound like? We're like, listen to The End We Deserve. If you like that, you can listen to Survive also. We're really proud of that song too, but like, listen to The End We Deserve. That's our go-to.
Yeah, because there's so many different like, I don't know what it is about that song that I like so much. Like, it's technically the first song I wrote when I joined the band. I started writing lyrics like that practice, I believe, or
it's almost exactly 1 year ago now that Dustin joined.
Yeah,
and we were writing that song instrumentally and musically right as Dustin auditioned. And it was like immediately when he left the audition, we basically all decided it was going to be him. And then that next practice he was in, started getting lyrics down for that song. And so the first show that Dustin did was when we were having Matt, who's currently our bassist and was our vocalist, switch out of that role. And so the last song of the set, we played The End We Deserve and had Dustin come up and do that.
Okay,
so that was when we actually became what now is Seeking Solace.
How many shows had you played at that point?
Without Dustin, over 10.
Okay.
We played quite a few.
How time span wise?
Probably the better part, more than 6 months.
Oh yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, more than 6 months. So I mean, it's been a long process to get this exact 5-piece together. It started with Riley on drums and Matt on bass in a band a long time ago, over 3 years ago, I think.
What's
now.
the name?
Gateways. And I don't think they ever recorded anything, but they basically had an issue with the guitarist in that band. They didn't get along with him, and so they ended that band. That same pair, there's two of them, and their singer stayed together, and then they brought on Dimitri as the guitarist. And then from there, they found out about me, or I found about them through a Craigslist ad. And this is a funny story. I completely lied to get into the band.
Hold on. Hold on. This was from the fall, right?
This is from the fall.
There's some this is an interesting story because it's actually kind of weird how Matt ended up in the band and how I even became aware of like who they were to begin with.
So this Craigslist ad is out, and Justin and I both responded to this Craigslist ad.
Yeah.
By the way, we don't know each other.
We don't like know each other
yeah.
at all. And this was like 2017, 2016.
This December 2016 is when
Yeah.
I joined, so it had to be late fall 2016,
yeah.
early winter when that ad went out. And did you ever audition? Did you ever meet up with them?
No,
Yeah, so
because this person I felt was like very rude and like
I think I know the band.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, when you said the name, I was
well,
like,
the point is like the funny part of this story is then so I go to audition and I think I'm 23 at the time. I started playing guitar right before I turned 22, so I've got like basically a year of experience. I have like a guitar that was a graduation present from college from my family, and then like a 10-inch speaker combo amp modeling amp. Like it doesn't sound good at all, but I don't know that. I think it sounds great because I've been playing guitar for a year. And so like I show up with these two things. Yeah, and I get up to this audition, and as I'm going through there, like they were asking me, they're just like, oh, you have a half stack also, like, expecting to have a 412 and like a 100-watt head. And I was like, yeah, I just bring this because it's easier to bring to auditions. I don't have any of that stuff, so I'm thinking like, okay, if I get in, I'm going to go buy some stuff here and just like fake my way through it. And then when they get to that, and I've never played metal music, like really real metal music. Like I liked like Avenged Sevenfold because like the guitar work in that is awesome. Like the lead guitar stuff is sick. So I thought that's what it meant when they said, "Oh, it's a metal band audition." I was expecting that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then I hear like actual screams and like breakdown stuff, and I was just like, "Oh God, I'm in way over my head." And so I'm BSing through the whole audition. Like I'm just like trying to act like I can do this. My guitar was in I think E standard, and I'm trying to tune this like very short scale length guitar down to drop C to like play along with them and jam for the audition. And then they asked like about like experience. I was talking about like, oh yeah, just like mostly doing like cover gigs back home. I'd never done a cover gig. I'd never done anything. I just knew some cover songs, so I could make it look like I knew how to play this kind of stuff. And then I wasn't even sure I wanted to join because I was like, I don't know, this is gonna be like too much. And I asked them, I was like, what do you guys got for shows coming up? And they rattled off like 6 or 7 shows they had lined up. And the other bands, or people I talked to via Craigslist ads, were either like a single person try to put together a band, or they had played some shows, but it was like maybe once every 6 months they would play out as like a real hobby type thing. And then I was like, all right, you know what, screw it, let's go for this. And then from there, we played for about a year as that band, and it was a blast. Like it was so much fun. And then eventually there was some kind of like disagreements about personality types within the band, and basically I was no longer getting along with the singer, and I just wasn't having fun with it anymore. And so I went to tell the other guys, I was just like, I'm gonna be done after this next show. I gotta move on to something else. And they were basically all in agreement. They were like, oh, us too, like we're ready to roll here. And so we left as the 4 of us. I'm like, you know what, let's screw it. Rather than trying to find 4 new bands, let's just start something we want, take our time, and like get the right crew. And then throughout that process is how we eventually then got Dustin. And so over the course of about 3 years, it went from Riley on drums and Matt on bass to now the 5-piece that is this band. It's a really, really long process to actually get 5 people who are on the same page, not only can play their instruments, but also want the same thing out of the band, can show up when practice actually happens, are willing to like travel and drive for shows, are willing to write and all that kind of stuff. And everything has come together really well right now. Yeah. We're doing everything we can to keep this going as long as we can.
Mm-hmm. Are you guys looking, because you mentioned something about like tour. I don't know how it came up. Are you guys looking that way? Like anything, any ideas?
We have some friends now from playing shows out of state. So like I'm from up in the Northeast. I know some bands up there from friends who play in like similar genres. Monument of a Memory is a band that we're friends of now. They're out of New Jersey. So we'd like to, when things line up and we have the EP actually ready to release, put together at least a couple short runs and try to actually get our feet wet with touring.
I've actually made it a point to, especially with a lot of the bigger shows we played, is to like talk with other bands. Like I had a really good conversation with the guys from Betraying the Martyrs, and talk like who actually really loved our stuff, which was pretty cool to have a band.
The mic check I told you about them. That was them.
Oh, they're French?
Yeah, they're French.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, we were talking about them earlier before we started
gotcha.
recording. I was trying to
the
him that was them.
Wait, the singer or the screamer? The keyboardist?
Yeah.
No, not the keyboardist. The
Okay.
keyboardist is amazing, dude.
Okay.
Oh my god. No, but it was their screamer had a really funny sound check. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. He was basically like tongue clicking into the mic and then checking for feedback. But I was trying to tell them about that earlier.
Yeah,
But go on.
No, you're good. I talked with the guys from Betraying the Modders, and like they gave us a lot of good feedback. And I usually always ask like about the proper way to go about making this more of a career instead of like just like a hobby or something that we're doing for fun. And they give us a lot of good feedback on that. And then I talked to the guys from Earthgroans at the Sleeper show. Those guys are super good.
Jeremy, their screamer.
Yeah.
Such a nice dude.
Very nice
we had a
guy.
great conversation.
Yeah. And that's so like I actually got in touch. Like I was talking with the drummer outside, and he was giving me some info. And then I talked to the singer, and I got some contact information from him. He's gonna like send me like his DIY like touring list, so a list of like promoters and venues to get in contact with. So like just like because he has like he apparently like he just really likes helping out like locals, and like that was like he is more than happy to like share like the work that because apparently he's got this like massive list of just like people to get in contact with like when you want to do this.
They have a really they have an interesting concept with their band. Their whole idea is EP every year.
Yeah.
That's what they're trying to do. They just got signed to Solid State. I'm like, clearly it's working.
Yeah.
So
I think there's something to be said for that. Like, musicians still listen to full-length albums, and real fans still listen to full-length albums, but most people love singles, or even like a 5-song EP is just a little bit more accessible to be like, okay, I got a 30-minute commute to work, I could listen to that EP.
But
on
I say a
Spotify.
5-song EP full of singles. That's what I say.
Right, yeah, there you go.
Currents is a really good example of that. Like they probably dropped my favorite EP of the last at least last year or
Yeah.
two.
We haven't really decided what we're going to do next as far as after our current EP comes out. We're already writing music for it, but whether it's another EP or a full length, like we would eventually we would like to do a full length because it'd be fun for us to do.
Yeah.
And you could do some really cool things when you're writing album tracks. Like you could have songs that flow into each other and these like big 10-minute type songs. But we'll kind of decide what's going to go next based on the songs that we actually come up with.
Yeah.
It all kind of depends where you're at too.
For sure.
If you're shopping for a label, they're gonna want to see a full length, which is kind of.
Although I gotta say,
outdated,
it's kind of interesting though. Like John Mayer, if you notice, like his last album, I think he released it in three-song chunks. If I'm remembering right, it was something like that. When he didn't release it all at once, he basically did pieces because, all right, it's a full-length album, but no one other than the real fans and musicians listen to full-length albums. So I think there's something to be said about that, and maybe even labels will. I think they are starting to play with that kind of idea of, okay, this could be a viable way to do this, having things be a little bit more bite-sized.
Yeah.
We'll see where it goes, though.
I think it's nice to just do something different. Like, I like seeing like musicians just break away from like the normal. I love a good album. Trust me. Like, I love listening to like a solid album, and I still think that's like one of the best ways to do it. But I also find that certain types of music don't really work as well as full lengths. Like it's because of it's like your attention span on like listening to the music. Like sometimes like if you put an album together and it's just a bunch of songs,
We have just like 10 bangers in a row. It's exhausting.
yeah, it's too much. Like, and then so that's why EPs are really really good because you can throw 4 or 5 bangers on that and it's just great. It's like, oh, this is sick. But if you can't do an entire album like that, so like albums I think should be reserved. I mean, like just as just a personal thought for like concepts. It's like, like? Tell me a story, or like when you're really trying to put like a piece of like work out there that flows and it's dynamic and like everything's related to each other.
Right.
You know,
It's a piece of art that is a bunch of piece of arts together. It's like an exhibit versus a piece, if that makes sense. Like not just one painting. It's how do these all come together into one greater thing that you're presenting.
Yeah, and as a Tool fan, like Tool I think is like personifies like what great albums are, and especially like the last 3 albums, they're the way they're written, and they take forever to write their stuff as it is. But
How long has it been?
like 13 years, I think.
Yeah.
And I think we're about to get an announcement.
Forever.
Like,
They just released something, didn't they?
no,
Or
they got profiles on Spotify and
Okay.
Apple Music now, which is great. Which is like we're like getting there. So
Yeah.
as I'm such a fucking huge Tool fan.
I thought that I thought I saw their like guitarist release something.
Yeah, so like on Adam Jones's like Instagram, he's like playing a riff to a new song, which is a song that they've already they do play live already. If you've seen them like recently, I haven't seen them recently. I've seen the song on YouTube though, but like it's just more of like some of the hashtags he put on it were like very like you know, cryptic, and they're like
I mean, they've also been talking about it for how long?
Yeah. And I heard it like a big thing that a lot of people don't know about that. I hate to go off on a tangent, but like they just got like this like really bad lawsuit with an artist from an older album that they did, and some issues with the label, and so it just pushed. They wanted to put out music like earlier, but then like things just shifted away.
Yeah.
So yeah,
But I was gonna say, like we were talking about like albums, you know, doing a full length album, straight bangers. Yeah, it doesn't really, because like within the song, you need to have this like, you know, give and take, this ebb and flow of like high energy, low energy. It just kind of how you create the high energy by having the low energy stuff.
Yeah.
The same thing with an album. You know, you need to have like these rises, these falls, like
And it's like, and I feel like there has to be a core concept there. There, like an album needs a concept. Like one of my favorite bands, like the Contortionists, for example. It's like their music has changed a lot, but each album I can listen to front to back because there's a concept, there's a meaning behind it. All the songs are different, and they kind of maybe lyrically different, and maybe slightly talking about different things, but it all forms like this bigger picture. It's like this is what the story we're trying to tell here. Or like, I mean, a lot of like Architects. Holy hell! Like there's a key concept. I mean, obviously about their guitarist.
I was gonna say they've got plenty of material to write about right now.
Exactly, and it's just like I guess like for an album, like if we all came to like that conclusion, like this is what we want to do, like a full length would be awesome. But also they just being creative and just teasing people and like keep the hype there, like that. Like I didn't know John Mayer did that, and I think that's genius. Like I think that's a really cool thing to do.
Yeah.
Because people like love music. People want to listen to your music, and they're gonna do it. Like, but you can also do it. You can put it out there, and there's so many ways you could make that work. And I love.
That's so. To me, that's so much smarter as far as like marketing.
Oh yeah.
Because like
which
people,
is everything now.
Yeah. People aren't going to listen to an album for a year, but people will listen to 3 songs for maybe a month or 2. Then you do that over a course. Then you release, say this is also a full length album. Like at least you'll get people to listen to it for longer.
Yeah, and the other good, I guess the other good part to that is typically with like full lengths, you run into an issue of people skipping stuff that you've done.
Okay.
Like unless you just write like an incredible album where it's like people will listen from front to back, but more than likely people like
they pick
their songs. They pick their songs.
Yeah. And not to say that it's wasted work, but if you can get it out there in a bite-sized way where you're kind of putting the pieces together where like you keep their attention like the entire time, I think that's like really cool because it makes people want to listen to all of it. And that way you can get your entire picture out there at once. And instead of all at once, you can kind of like, at least people will hear everything instead of like, oh, I hear an opening riff skip. Which is, honestly, I do that sometimes. It's like, I'm not vibing with like this first 10 seconds of the song. Next.
Well, like, I was watching a video. It's like you have about 5 seconds to capture their attention.
Yeah.
So that first 5 seconds needs to straight bang. There has to be something about that, keeps people attention.
Yeah.
So.
Either like come out like really hard or like have some
have some clean like thing with reverb and delay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Then We Deserve is really cool because like that riff is only played, like the drum pattern and the riff is only played once.
Just in the
It's
intro.
just the intro.
Yeah.
But it comes out, and like when the verse kicks in now, because of the way the drums were written for that verse, it like just hits like, and then it's just like, all right, got your attention, cool.
So let's get into this. Black Plate got an EP.
That's right. Yeah, we are currently in the mixing process of that with our 5-song EP. We tracked it at Black Plate, and let me tell you, like tracking with Garrett is an incredible experience. He is such a pro.
Yeah.
He's so fast with the interfacing that they use there, and they do the editing on the fly. So as you're tracking, things are being edited, which saves a lot of time on the back end. Because if, let's say, you do a whole bunch of takes and then someone throws out a new idea and then it's like, okay, later I'll just throw those ideas in and we'll figure it out. It's really easy for the person tracking, the engineer, to not quite understand what you wanted. Oh, like, no, we wanted that in the pre-chorus, not at the end of the verse type thing. That's not where that lead line goes. So by doing that and matching the parts up while you're going, so that everything layers together. We got like the 4 tracks. We're going to quad track the guitars. We've picked those. We've lined them up during the tracking process. It saves a bunch of time. The disadvantage to that would be if you're slow with the interface you're using with the DAW, it would take forever. If you ever get a chance to watch Garrett work, it's so impressive. He's incredibly fast with that. He's really easy to work with. He's got good ideas. He doesn't take the compliment of being a producer very well. He's very modest, but he's got a great ear for parts, and he can very quickly put himself in the headspace of a band. So it was a huge help for us. And I think I mentioned this when we were chatting before this, when Dustin was on his way over. There's one song, War March, which during that song, the bass part transformed a lot. And there's actually 5 different people playing bass on that song. And it was basically the idea of just like someone within the room at that moment was like, I got an idea for this part. Can we check it out? I'm like, sure. We'd hand them the bass, and they would play something just thinking that they were jamming it. But Garrett was smart enough to press record. And then they were just like, oh, that's awesome. Like, do you guys want to track it? But Garrett's like, I already got it. Like, we're good to go. Let's move on to the next section. And it makes this really, really good experience. So it was easy after we've got a few songs in that process under our belt and felt the vibe of the studio to get very creative with it. And so the actual process of recording was really, really first class. And like I said, we're in the mixing process of that right now with John, and hopefully pretty soon here we'll have it done.
Back yet?
We've gotten the first mix, and we're going through revisions right now. So we're in the middle of that process, and we've got a music video already filmed.
What?
Oh
Yeah.
shit!
So everything is ready to roll.
Do we have a song title, or are we?
We have song titles. You're asking for the EP title? So we don't have that.
No, a song title for this.
For the music video. Yeah,
we do.
Yeah.
Do we want to give it though?
Yeah, you want to give it to me anyway.
Well, technically, I mean, if you're at the show, you know. what
We
it
filmed
is.
a live music video. So if you were in Charlotte at the show that when we played with
We Came as
Played by
Romans.
Kings era and We Came as Romans,
Okay, yeah.
then you will have seen some cameras floating
I
around
remember you
there,
saying that.
and I think Dustin introducing the concept of this is going to be the song we're doing a video for. So if you were there, you already know, and if you weren't there, you just got to stay tuned for more.
That has been a really popular concept lately, I think. I wonder, it's pretty easy as far as a concept goes. Like, it works.
Yeah.
You know it's going to work. You do it at a bigger show where people are there. You know you're going to get crowd interaction. If all you do is say, hey, we're shooting a music video for this, everyone's going crazy.
So actually, I was really nervous about that because I actually had a chest infection. I woke up with a chest infection like that day of that show, and I remember texting everybody. I was like, I really hope I can actually like get through this. And like,
It was one of those moments where it was like, it doesn't matter. Like, we don't have a choice. Like,
yeah.
we're playing this
exactly.
show.
Yeah. Like I was never gonna be out of the show, but it's just like
It's just like we spent money to hire the guys to film. It's just
Yeah.
like we had to put a
Yeah.
bunch of hype into this. It's just like we're playing the show. So
And
it's
I'm-
like, what can we
I'm
do?
such
What
a-
can we do to make you feel better?
I feel like I'm such a perfectionist. It was like not only were we doing the video, but it's just like every show that I ever do, I want to like leave it all on the stage or in the crowd or wherever I'm at when I finish, which is typically the crowd. But like, I hate just not being at 100% because I feel like people who come to see us deserve me giving 100% every single time. Like, and if that's why I feel like that's why I get so exhausted and like super tired. So like on that show, we played. It was like a 25-minute set. I
It
believe.
was 25 minutes.
Was for people who like, I guess will listen to this and don't understand like what being a metal vocalist is like, especially a metal vocalist who does both cleans, like, and well, for me, I do like fry screaming, I do like false chord, like guttural stuff, and I also sing, and I do get some backup from Dimitri on that, but I also don't really try not to skip out on parts if I need to take a breath. Like, I will push through, like I push myself like through something, like I don't care how I feel after the fact, just like let me get through this set. But it's exhausting, and we were shooting the song we shot the video for was the last song, so you can imagine. I'm pushing I had like a pushing through this chest infection. It's the last song that we're playing, and we're shooting the video for it, and I was so worried that like I thought, because I was starting to feel like the repercussions of pushing myself as hard as I was, but we made it through. And actually, I can't wait to see the end of the song.
Have you guys seen any of it?
Yeah,
We've seen some clips.
Okay.
a couple of clips.
So basically, once we have made the final decisions for the structure of the song, which is happening within this mixing process, the final edit will be done. Rather than editing it to the song and then having to change something later and edit again, it just saves time on the back end for the guys filming it, which I'll give them a shout out. His name's Ian Dunn. You can just Google him, Ian Dunn, I think Media or Ian Dunn Films is where he's going to be in. And he's really, really awesome.
He did Life in Motion.
He did Life in
Where's he
Motion
out of?
music video. He's out of Raleigh.
Okay.
He filmed, like, he does media full time. Like, this is his career. It wasn't just like a side thing. But he's played in bands before, and like Era is one of his favorite bands. So when we were telling him about what we were gonna film, he was all about it. He listened to our music and he was in it, and like it felt really, really easy to work with him. And he pointed out something interesting actually about filming a live show. You normally, let's say, like for a 4-minute music video, let's say, you might spend 2 days filming for those 4 minutes of shots. We had 25 minutes to get those shots. And so 25 minutes, but effectively, if you're doing a 4-minute song, you only have 4 minutes to get 90% of the critical shots. That's really, really hard to do. And especially with a band that moves around as much as us, hoping that you're in the right place at the right time. So we actually recommended, and we brought on a second camera, and it worked out great. Like after we were done, they were...
Seeing some of the clips has really got me, like, obviously we haven't seen the full video yet, but just like the clips that we've seen, I am like super, super stoked. Super stoked. Because I don't think I've ever seen, I mean, honestly, I'm not going to spoil anything, and I'm terrible at describing, so it wouldn't work anyway, but like, some of those shots that he captured and the way it's done and like the editing to it is just like kind of bonkers. Like, because I've seen a bunch of live videos that just do like a bunch of quick cuts, and I was like, this is not that. Like, this is not just a live video. There's different cuts, and then that's it. Like, I can see that there's a ton of work done in like how things were captured and just the way things transition. It's just like,
So he's got a really good eye.
oh
basically.
my god,
Yeah.
Well, so like
Because that's all got to be on the fly. Like,
he won an award, right, at the Carolina Music Awards for the Life in Motion video that he did.
Yeah.
Best rock and metal music video of the year. So Life in Motion is Wade Harris's band.
Yeah.
So that was Faded.
If he's still.
I don't know what the
I'm
deal
not
is
sure.
with that.
I'm not sure.
But yeah, Faded was the video that put him on. Faded was the video that put him on our radar.
Yeah.
And I asked Wade what the experience of working was like, and he couldn't recommend him more.
Yeah.
And same thing from us. Like, if you're looking for someone to film a video,
And he's local.
He's worth everything.
And
And he's local.
And like I said, he's not just someone who films bands. Like, he's actually played in bands. He likes this kind of music. He's part of this, and he gets what it's like to be in a band and what we're going for.
Yeah.
And he's done some really cool work, and he's just full of good ideas.
Is it all live shots of the show?
Yes.
Okay. I was thinking, because I also really enjoy the ones where they have like the live clips, but then they also like cut to like they're just like fucking around on the side. Because I'm the like fuck around person on the side.
Yeah. Well, like we were talking about, the performance that we put on is a big part of what we try to bring to our show. The music obviously is first and foremost, but the performance is something else. I mean, so we're like, a live video is perfect because it gets to show that to people who haven't been at shows before.
Yeah. That last shot. I can't wait to see that because I remember what I did at the end, and I also forgot where the camera
The splits.
was. Huh?
Did you do the splits?
No.
Dang.
Dustin's a big dude.
I know. I want to drop it. Oh my gosh.
But you gotta start stretching. That'd be pretty epic.
I'm working on that. But like, I jumped off the stage and like on the last like breakdown of the song, I was like right in front of the barrier, just like yelling at people, like in their face. Like I wanted to get over the barrier, but the barrier's kind of tall, and I'm like, I could have done it, but like. I'm also using a corded cable, and I'm just like thinking about like, all right, what would happen if we made it over?
We'll put you on wireless one of these days.
Yeah, please, for the love of God.
I was thinking about that. I was like, wireless would be nice, because like, especially where you jump in the crowd.
Yeah.
Like I usually jump in the crowd at some point.
Then I also think about losing the mic, and like, because I do get hit, like especially when I get in the pit. Like people do hit me, and like it's great. But I also like have the cord wrapped around my hand, so like if I get hit, like it just doesn't go flying off. So that would be the only thing about wireless I probably wouldn't like is the chance of losing the mic is pretty high, especially because I'm usually sweaty as shit. And, like, my hands are slick, and
the amount of times I've lost a pick playing a breakdown in the pit and had to finger pick a breakdown instead.
That's so sweet. But they have so much more fun to it, man. Like, I tell people all the time. I've been in the band for a year. And I cannot, like, the evolution from, like, when I started to, like, where we're at now, a lot of, like, that growth comes from just the live stuff and just being, like, loving what we do. And our personalities come out on stage and off stage with the crowd. It's like, this is who we are.
We've made more progress playing a lot of shows when we first got Dustin in the band than any string of practices that we ever did. Mm-hmm. Like, that's... I mean, especially for anyone who's like starting a band for the first time, just play every single show you get offered. Like you're going to be awful at some of them. It doesn't matter. You'll get better. Like the more shows you play, the more comfortable you get. Like I said, we've made more changes to the live set for the better based on playing shows and being like, yo, it would feel great if we did this here. Or we should switch those two songs. This breakdown's awesome. Let's put that at the end so we can finish with that breakdown. Stuff like that. And that's something that you may or may not come up with in practice. Obviously, practice is important, but playing those shows is really where it's at.
It changed everything for us. Like,
really
we went on like a really long streak of just nonstop playing. Last summer was like busy, and the crazy thing is we had no music up.
Yeah, we had no music that people could listen to.
We're sitting here playing all of these shows, and like we were able to like change up stuff and change parts of songs and things like that, and. I don't know, man. It's just it's the most unorthodox way I feel like I've never been in a band, so I can't say that.
I was about to ask, how did you get? Because I know you hadn't been in a band. Had you been in a band?
No, this is my first band for sure.
Demetrius.
Well, actually, no.
15,
I played the band with my buddy, who actually has a band now, Soul Season or whatever. I think that's the name. He's.
Are they from Mabane?
Yeah.
That's who I was thinking of earlier.
Okay.
I saw them at Clayton Beverage.
Okay,
They released an EP album. Yeah.
Yeah, so Soul Season, the lead singer guitarist is like a good friend of mine. We played in a band when I was in high school, before I went in the Navy. But I played guitar in that band. It was short lived, but he kept grinding and he's doing well now. So, but like me joining the band was like. Actually, it's a pretty interesting story. So, obviously, like I mentioned before about, like when Matt joined, I actually responded to like that same offer to join that band, playing guitar and doing like backup vocals, which is what this person asked for. I didn't like go through with it because I was getting a weird vibe. And I'm not trying to like just throw any like shade out there. It's just I didn't feel like it was good for me at the moment. And then I started doing vocal covers on Facebook. So if you have me on Facebook, I've done like 20 or 30 different covers of just random songs that I like to sing, even though I know they're shitty. So, especially some of the early ones are like really crappy and I was pitchy. But like I suffer from I have like really bad social anxiety. I have panic disorder and major depressive disorder. And so there's a lot of struggles that I was going through like at that time, and then but doing these covers became like sort of an outlet. Like it was a way for me to learn how to put myself out there, put my face out there, and me not be ashamed of like what I'm doing. It was just like an attempt to try to like break some of these like, you know, chains or whatever.
And that's how we found out about him. So when we played a bunch of shows, and Matt, our bassist, was our vocalist at the time. He's an excellent singer and really, really good screams. When we've covered Kill Switch, he'll do a lot of that stuff, so you can hear him if you ever see us do that song. He's really, really strong in that standpoint. He was feeling like he thought his best role for the band would be on bass rather than as the front man. That was like, none of us felt like he was doing a bad job. We didn't want to change that, but he felt like that was the best spot for him. And so then we started looking, and within 2 weeks, Justin from Fear the Indifference told us, like, yo, you got to check this guy out, Dustin. And sent Dimitri, I think, one of your covers. He sent that to the band, and that was the audition.
So it's funny, yeah. It was cool because I met Justin at a Weekend as Remnants show. I went to go.
No way.
Yeah. So this is how this happened. Like I don't know if I've ever told you guys. So like, I went to Weekend as Remnants at the Blind Tiger. I was meeting my buddy Devin there, and Devin is a good friend of Justin, Justin and Ryan, and they were there from Fear the Indifference.
White or black Ryan?
White. Yeah. So they were both.
Sorry. I find it funny.
So like they were both there, and like Devin introduced me, and like they were just asking questions like, "Oh, so do you do any music or anything like that?" And they're like, I was like, "Yeah, I play piano, play guitar, whatever. I've dabbled in electronic music." And I was like, and I also
I've dabbled. Do you have
I do have like a list of things. But like
Freaking Ron Burgundy over here. I dabble. pulls out the pan flute and starts playing jazz.
So like I the last thing I mentioned was like I just started trying to do vocals, and that was something I was looking to like pursue, like, you know, just for fun. But I was working it.
How long before your audition was that?
Like 2 weeks.
No way.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was that close.
Right,
it
when
was
you started
really
to look.
close.
Okay, so that's why you were fresh in Justin's head, because he would have just.
I just met him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like,
timing, that's crazy timing. I didn't know that.
I told him like I was doing vocals. He's like, "Do you have anything I can listen to?" And I actually auditioned for like the Invent Animate. I did like when their vocalists left, and they were doing Invent Animate. They're like a North Lane sounding band. They're really good.
Where are they from?
Texas, I believe.
Oh, okay.
I want to say. They're pretty good. If you never listened to them, definitely check them out. There was a bunch of people who did that audition, and I didn't expect to get picked or anything, but like it was my first time like really trying to do like the vocal fry, really heavy stuff.
Yeah.
So I did that, recorded it. I thought it sounded pretty good, and so I showed Justin like that cover. He's like, He's like, I really like this. He's like, do you want to join a band? And at first I thought he was offering me to join his band, but he's like, well, no. He's like, I know of a band that's like out of Raleigh if you're willing to travel, because I live in Evan, and I was like, if you're willing to travel, it's like they just started looking for a vocalist. He's like, here, add this guy Dimitri, and that's what I did. I did it that day, and then talked to Dimitri like that day and sent him a link to my stuff.
Wait, so did you know anyone?
No.
Okay.
Not at all. Like
I love
I my buddy Devin,
okay.
and then that was it. And so literally it went from like that to we set up the audition. And the crazy thing about this audition was I was working at Verizon at the time, and I was like super tired when I got off of work, and it was the day of the audition. And I remember like driving, like I was in Burlington working, and I was driving back to Nevin. It's a long drive because I was coming all the way out to like Selma. So for me, that's like...
At that time, we were between practice spots, so we didn't have a place to go. So we were going to do this audition on the Coughlin's property out in Selma. So Dustin's got even a longer drive.
Out on the stage. Yeah, so this is where you're auditioning on the stage.
We were in the shack.
Yeah.
We were inside there. Yeah.
And like I'm on my way home, and I'm thinking to myself, do I really want to make this drive all the way out there? I had that thought in my head. There was a part of me that did not want to go. I was like, is this even worth it? Like, I don't even know. Like, I didn't know these people.
Probably a level of nerves.
Yeah.
Because, like, that's where I go. Like, yeah, you have that thought, but also it's like the nerves driving that thought.
Yeah, and it's just like, I don't know if I really want to do this. And because I also had, especially at the time, like self-confidence issues.
Yeah.
I was like, singing was just like a thing that I was trying to do. It's like, am I really like committed to even doing anything like this? And so I remember I was like, got right to my exit to where I could have gotten off to go home, and I just like kept driving, and it just something hit me, just do it, because like me and my ex at the time had just split, and I was like, fuck this, I needed something to do, preoccupy my time, and like. Music has always been.
That's all you are. That's all you've been. Just preoccupied with time.
But it's like
we're the rebound girl.
Honestly, that's kind of what it was. It's like I just wanted to do something cool, like snap me out of this like funk that I was in, and so I was like, I think this will be good for me. Music has always been my outlet since I was like a little kid, and what better way to like get myself on like in a better state of mind than to do that. So. I made the drive out there, and it was so funny. Like I'm following like the GPS, and like I end up at this place. I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? I know.
What the fuck?
Like, where the fuck am I?
If you've never been to a show out on the Coughlin, like it looks like the cover of Iowa by Slipknot. Like there is nothing anywhere at all. Just cornfields as far as you can see, and there's this tiny building that you're like, that can't possibly be something that people are in. That's gonna fall down at any second. And if in one of Discovery's music videos, the floor breaks in that music video. Like this place is falling apart. It's amazing. It's one of my favorite places to be in, like the North Carolina kind of like underground music kind of type thing. And yeah, that was like, I can't imagine what that must have looked like for you to be like, oh yeah, we're trying to present us as a professional band. And we're in this like place that we're just like lucky they're letting us hang out in.
Yeah, I was like, what? Sketched. I was sketched out.
Yeah.
Super sketched out. But it was just crazy though, because after like the audition was really fun. It was cool because like they just got up there. I was like standing down in the pit, I guess, because I guess the floor had broke at a show prior to that.
Yeah, so everything's lower.
Yeah.
So I
remember just like just standing there, and they started playing their stuff just for me to listen to it. And I just like immediately clicked with it. And like I went from like, okay, I don't really know what's happening to, yo, this is really cool. I love this because it's like I don't know, like I feel like our music is so diverse, and like you can hear so many different influences from like different things, but they all just seem to work together. But like I remember just listening to the music, I was just like, man, this is they're pretty good. And then I got up there and they wanted me to sing some songs, so I did like Change by Deftones, which is one of my all-time favorite songs, and then we just started playing music, and I just literally sang along to a bunch of random songs that we were playing, and we all just had a good time, and we were clicking, like we were all just clicking really well. And
yeah, it quickly went from being like a formal audition of like, you can see what we do, we'll see what you do, to just like a jam sesh.
Yeah, and it was cool.
And very, very quickly it changed to that. And some of it wasn't even us playing. It was literally like we'll just plug in Dimitri's phone with an aux and just like played some like songs from, I don't know, early 2010 kind of eras, or even like older stuff.
Yeah, because I did like
just songs that
we did like
songs that we had like just all heard and we all would know, and then we just like, here's a microphone, do it.
Yeah.
Even if like even if it sounds bad, just like do it. Let's see what let's just see what it's like.
Yeah. That was really cool.
Yeah.
And
so
like,
we agreed that we wouldn't say anything to you while you were there about if you did or didn't get it, so we could talk as a group afterwards. But I mean, we were all on the same page. It was just like, yeah, this is gonna be fine. Like we're gonna this is gonna work just perfectly.
Yeah, and it really is. Man, it's changed my life. I feel like my whole life has changed since this, and it's weird because it's like, we're still like in the early phases of this band, and I wholeheartedly believe this. But like, it went like from that moment, it went from like, oh, this is like a cool fun thing to do, to like this is like a huge part of like my life, my day-to-day life, and like especially like living in a small town where like I pretty much know almost everybody there. You have people that like come up, and I like, even last night I was out, I spent most of my time last night talking about our band than anything else really. And it's crazy because it's not.
I get it.
No.
I get it.
And the crazy thing is, it's not me just bringing it up. It's people asking me, And like, there's a guy in my town. This is a crazy story, but he was actually at the We Came As Romans show with his girlfriend. His girlfriend bought him tickets. I didn't know this guy at all. He actually, I met him a couple weeks ago. He pointed me out while I was at the bar. He's like, dude, didn't you open up for We Came As Romans? And he's like, I was like, yeah. He's like, you're in Seeking Solace, right? He actually had the band on because we threw a bunch of like wristbands up. And like he
That's
told
a
me,
great promotional tool, by the way.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
then people can remember who we are.
yeah. And so like he actually like because apparently Dimitri, he like said like something to Dimitri, like gave him a compliment or something. Dimitri threw a bunch of them to him. So he has like a collection. He has a giant glass thing or whatever on his wall that he puts like a bunch of memorabilia in.
Yeah.
And he put our stuff in there. And he's like he really loves
Yeah.
our music. But like I saw him again last night and like I don't know, like it just like I was having people just kind of like walk up and just wanting to
Hometown
talk
hero
about
right
it.
there.
And it's kind of cool. It's very humbling because again, I'm not used to like, and even now I'm still not used to like having people want to like really want to talk to you. Like I have my own like personal like issues that I deal with, and it makes it a lot hard. It's harder for me to like to be that person, like to I guess the person that people want to talk to. And me and Matt had this discussion about like being after a show. Like the We Came as Romans show was just wild because I got off stage and like all people wanted to do was either buy me beer, take pictures with me, like Instagram, like link up, do whatever. And I did that like for the rest of the night. I felt like, and I'm not used to it.
It
I
can
know-
get tiring.
It does. It gets very, very tiring because it's like on the one hand, it's like this is really cool, and I'm loving that people love our stuff. Like that's a big part of it. But at the same time, it's like I don't want to be like this like cocky douchebag who just like talks. I feel like I'm like, oops. I feel like that I'm gloating too much or something like that.
I think you're good.
You know what I mean?
If legitimately, I look at it, if you are even having the thought that like, am I being a douche?
Yeah.
Then I think you're good.
Yeah.
Because like, I mean, I don't know, I don't have any like fame, but I imagine if you don't have that thought, then you're being a dish.
Yeah.
Then you're
And
probably.
I guess that's right. And I really try to like branch things off and not really talk about us so much, but talk about like what the music is about. Because I mean, being very angry and aggressive, like it's hard to understand the lyrics because you can't just go listen to it right now. And so I like even like on stage, I like to talk about the songs before I play them, or I might mention it after I play. And it's become like a thing where it's like I can relate, and I've had so many people come up and tell me stories about like their own lives and things that they've gone through, and the fact that they appreciate me actually opening up about it. Because like we've got a song about like alcoholism, and here I am talking about like going out and drinking and stuff like that. But back in the day, like there was a period of time where I was going through like a really, really rough phase, and it was it was getting pretty bad. I was dealing with like suicidal thoughts and stuff like that, and I ended up writing a song about it, "Survive," which you can listen to. Like that song is about very bluntly, you know, what my life was like at the time, and you know, mentioning that. And I have good friends now that I talk to on a regular basis who like I met just through the shows, and who just appreciated just talking about it and like being like, I guess what people would say, vulnerable, and like, look, this is my life, you know what I mean? Like this is what I go through. Like there's I'm not hiding anything, like either on stage or off stage, because I try to do this in my personal life too, just like being open. It's like if you want to know something, I will tell you. Like I go to some dark places, and like I'm not afraid to just be like, this is what it's like. This is where my mind is. But yeah, it's
When we talk, like you said, we talked about this, how it's something that it's really tough. You can notice it when we're with the band traveling, like to even just shows out the state. It's not easy to go be in that role of Dustin when the songs are very personal about a lot of times things that are not fun to even just think about, let them remember, and then they're very clearly about that. So going through that every time he does the show is part of the reason that Leave It All Out There is part of it. And though people connect with that, though, like it's fairly common for people to comment like, I love how there's a story for every song. You know, I very much know that my role as guitarist and for most of the band is we're his backup dancers. Like Dustin,
I don't know about all
Backstreet
that.
Boys.
like we
JT and the Backstreet Boys. Okay.
we are running around, jumping, making fools out of ourselves for entertainment. But really, the thing that like is memorable for someone who's going to be really into the music is what Dustin's doing up there. Is that the songs are not abstract ideas or stories. I love a lot of music like that has that going on. But the thing that our band has and our music has is that very real part of what the lyrics are and what the songs are about. And so Dustin bringing that is that's the
Are you
that's
the only
the
one
biggest
writing
thing with
lyrics?
that.
For the most part, for most of the songs, I did. So when we joined, I guess I tried to learn Matt's lyrics, bassist when he was doing vocals. I tried to learn it like how he was doing it, but I wasn't connecting with it really well. And he was just pretty much open, like he's like, look, do what you want, change what you want, use what you want. He's like, make it. You need to be personal with it, like, because that's the only way it's gonna work is if like I can relate to it. So like Matt has like contributed to a song, like the chorus of the song that we shot a video for.
Keeping it
Which
a secret.
But so he wrote that chorus, and I know like I used some of the other Matt's lyrics for "Save Me." I think the chorus in that song is still like what it was. I changed how I do it a little bit, but like it's still the same. It's still the same chorus. But for the most part, I write everything else.
Do you find this weird balance where you're trying to write? Because I find this weird balance where I'm like trying to write like, because like it's a specific thing for me, but then you're trying to like not make it so specific to you, where you're trying to like branch it out a little.
No,
Okay.
and I hate to be so blunt about that.
No,
but,
I mean that's fine.
Honestly, I wrote all the stuff that I wrote while I was working at Verizon because we were playing a bunch of shows, and besides that one song, which was written like after the fact, but the other songs on the EP I wrote while I was working, and I was kind of in a hurry to do it, but I was also going through a lot at the time, and it was really I wanted it to be me. This is me. Like I'm not. I don't feel like. I don't want to write something broad like that. I want the interpretation to be like pretty straightforward, and that's why I try not to write songs that are too artsy fartsy. I guess. Not that I don't like that.
Yeah.
I really I respect really good writing, and like me personally, I like writing like that. But I feel like for what we're doing and the way the music is, it's like I didn't want to like overcomplicate things, and so like these like the songs, and if you read the lyrics, besides like maybe like the "End We Deserve," which it is a little bit more wordy, but like all the other stuff is just it's straightforward. It's to the point, and that's just the way I wanted it to be. And I've kind of like struggled with like as we're writing like new material now, it's like, do I really like where I'm at? And it's like I kind of do, because I just say it and you get it immediately.
Yeah.
It's not like you have to like read into my lyrics too much. It's like, no, this is the message right here. There's nothing like, there's no undertones there. It's just, it's in your face. And for what I'm talking about, I feel like that's the way to do it. Like for me personally, it's like, that's how I want to get it out. It's like, I want to be in your face, not, you don't have to search for some meaning or whatever. The meaning is like right in front of your eyes. You know what I mean?
Do you rewrite a lot? Or are you pretty like...
No, yeah, I do
This is-
rewrite.
yeah.
I rewrite, especially because I end up writing without having. Well, at first I wrote a lot of the music without being able to listen to the music, and then by the time that we actually had some like we all recorded some stuff for me, and then like I was able to kind of like hone it and get the syllable structure right. But even that, you'll notice in like some of the songs, I don't sing along to what anybody else is playing, really, except in
Choruses.
choruses, yes, but like verses are kind of, I don't know if this is unique, and I've never really paid attention much to like other bands and how they write, but like I've never really wrote the verse in relation to what anybody else is playing. I just kind of, especially, yeah,
It adds to that almost like chaos in a lot of the songs that happens during the verse of like there's so much going on, and then it targets in on something for the chorus.
Yeah.
And I think it then makes the like, I think theory-wise you would call it the resolution when you're coming from like this chord progression, you get back to the root and you hit this really nice big chorus.
Yeah.
But it comes to this moment that it's very satisfying, partly because the verses are either wild or sometimes almost hard to listen to. Because there's just so much going on. Like, what the hell do I focus on here?
Yeah, The End We Deserve is like a prime example of that.
There's a lot happening in that verse, and then comes to the chorus, and there's a lot happening, but the lot happening in the chorus is all working together. And so there's this beautiful contrast to that kind of thing that makes the chorus hit harder. I know they always talk about it with like pop music production, but it's the idea that you can only make any given section of a song so big. So if the verse is huge, you can't make the chorus seem big because the verse was already huge. So you got to do one of two things. Either you put something in between that's smaller, like a pre-chorus when you drop out a bunch of instruments, or you get to like a little bit of a section there, or you make the verse something that's not like the chorus. But that contrast between the two is what makes the chorus big. Choruses are going to be big only in relation to what's happened pretty much directly before them. Because that's a trick that, like I said, they use it in pop music all the time and talk about it, but it works for pretty much any genre that you want a chorus to be central.
Periphery does that really well.
Yeah, and like a lot of times
a lot of times
in progressive music, you know, they would say, "Screw it, I don't care if the chorus is big and satisfying and accessible." But like, yeah, Periphery does do a really, really good job of that, of having these contrasts in the different parts of their songs.
It's just, you can shit on pop music all you want. It's a fact. If you want a song that's catchy and you want a song that like is memorable.
And why not? Like,
I think as a band we like choruses.
I like pop music. Fuck.
And like I don't understand like this. I don't personally listen to a lot of pop music. I like electronic music, which like dance music and stuff like that, which follows the same formula. Like your, I guess, verse per se is typically not ever going to be as big as like the drop in a song or something like that. There's dynamics to it, and it's like it's effective, and that's just how it works. But I don't understand why anyone would want to write something that people can't remember.
Exactly. There has to be something that they're like, oh, the na 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 na. Just start out the song going na 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 na.
And especially like if I'm thinking, all right, what is my goal as like a vocalist and a lyricist? I'm trying to get a message out there. I want to be able to play music, enjoy, like love what I do, but also like try to do something positive with that. So how do I make what I'm saying stick? Like I need it to stick. Choruses are the best way to do that. It's like if I can just write if I write a good chorus and we write a good chorus, and like there's a message behind it that ends up sticking and people remember it, like am I not? That's the way. I mean, I'm just trying. Yeah. Is that the best way to like achieve what like the goal?
Yeah. Like
I don't want to write a bunch of complicated stuff, and things just don't sound like It's like muddy, and you don't really know where the message is. And I mean, it's good instrumentally. It sounds great, but there's nothing memorable there.
There's also like in heavy music specifically, I think there's a level of like, I want to. What is it? It's like I have to write something that like is technical. I have to write something that's like complicated for it to be good, but not at all true.
Yeah,
not at all true.
It's easy to fall into that trap.
Yeah.
And obviously it's fun to challenge yourself and write that. But yeah, some of the best moments of the set are really easy to play, and every single person in the crowd could also come up there and play it.
Yeah, that's why you see a lot of bands like moving back in that direction again, like
Beartooth.
Yeah, Beartooth, Northlane,
Four chord
put out
songs.
a new single like that is very new metalish, and there's a reason why that genre blew up so big because it's simple.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say it today,
effective.
Because I've learned a bunch of songs from the new Beartooth album just because I love Beartooth. Some of those riffs are way trickier than they sound. Caleb Shomo is a monster.
I think it's crazy that he is the only person writing and recording.
My understanding is that he will, when he has a song, send it to the other guys who initially were just hired to play songs. They weren't part of the band, and they would maybe give him some feedback. But yeah, it's his project.
yeah.
He records every single part of it. He recorded their first album in his house himself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like he would press record, run to a drum kit, and then do a take.
Yeah.
And you can hear it too.
Yeah,
But that raw production is like great.
love it.
Great. I mean, I don't know. I bounce between like what I prefer between like either like a raw, gritty sound versus like a polished sound, which is why like when I was mixing our stuff, it's like I don't really know which actual direction I want to go with this. It's like I can try to make this as polished as possible, but at the same time, like some of that grittiness and like I think of like Every Time I Die, like some of their older stuff is just like
Yeah. Well, there was even one of the choruses on the EP that the raw tracks. I was there when you recorded it. It was like 95% in pitch. It was like very, very close to perfectly in pitch, but it wasn't. And then obviously the temptation there is like you just slap some pitch correction on it and make it perfect. And I think in the revision from mix 1 to what we're going to be soon hearing mix 2, I think the way I worded it when Dustin was putting it in the notes to send back to them was just like, it's too clean, fuck it up a little bit. Like
yeah.
it needs to.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
just like
Yeah.
Like that 5% of
It's necessary.
error was okay because it wasn't so off that it's out of pitch. Like it wasn't so off that like, oh, I can't listen to that. It was
It's
just off enough to have been
Almost
a
makes
real
it
take.
interesting.
Yeah,
It's like Chino Moreno from Deftones cannot sing, but he can. His voice is so beautiful, but he rarely ever sings in like good pitch. And like maybe I think for me, like I struggle because like I really want to be able to do like pitch perfect cleans. Like I want to be able to pull those off, but I feel like my voice, especially live, just doesn't work well. Because going from like really aggressive screaming straight into singing like within the next breath, like I feel like I don't transition as well. And I think I've like learned to like just appreciate where my voice actually is, and not always being like the dissonant parts are effective because it sounds more raw and real. And like I listen to our live stuff sometimes, and it's just like I actually really like that I didn't sing that as perfect as I could have, because I feel like and on an emotional level, it's just like it was just better.
and there's like singing something that the original take being 100% in pitch sounds different than it being 95% in pitch or even 98 and have that little bit of pitch correction.
Yeah.
Like it might not sound pitch corrected. It might be good enough that the pitch correction is kind of concealed and you don't notice it, but it just sounds different than the original take being
does.
right in pitch. And so obviously you want to toe that line and get it to where it's listenable, or ideally you just get the takes as good as possible. But there's that little bit that's okay. Same thing with like when you edit guitars where you would have like a noise gate doing things live, you can just delete that so it's completely silent in the editing there. And how hard you make those breaks, so effectively how hard and fast you make the gate, is something that you can make it super perfect and like Born of Osiris-y, and it fits that band so well. But you might not always want it to sound like Born of Osiris. You might want it to also sound like a real performance of the guitarist's hand coming on the strings and
There's
having
nothing I
this
love more
like
than hearing, like,
15
the-
millisecond decay.
Like the ride, like when you can hear the finger just gliding down the string, or just like you can clearly hear the picking and the movement of the fingers on the strings. It's like I listen to those details in songs. But you don't really hear it as much in like really technical music, because most people are perfectionists and they're like, no, this needs to sound as clean as possible. But I'll go back to like an Every Time I Die, like you just like you can just hear everything. Just how everything is played is like very clear, and it just feels more.
Yeah, and with the way that we write and the way that the music is intended to sound, that kind of thing where it's we get the takes as good as we can. We want it to be a polish. We want it to be our studio recording, but resist the temptation to make it a perfect studio recording.
It's something that I thought about where I think what happened with like heavy music in general, but like specifically that like metalcore-ish type of music, where everything when it started was because like the recordings were shit.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't good recording material. Like people didn't know how to record it. It's the same thing with like punk. Like, and then you see this progression towards like cleaner, more precise, everything, and then it got to a point where it is just so perfect, it's bad to me.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's no emotion behind it. Like, so like I like the idea of like bring it back. Let's get some let's get it a little raw. Let's get some emotion back in it.
That's true.
Just the recording needs to fit the band and the song.
Mm-hmm.
Like a Born of Osiris recording, I think would sound really bad if it sounded like an underground punk recording. I think it would literally just sound like sloppy metal. Like that, I think is kind of something that needs to be that like perfect, like almost like this was a bunch of computers making this. But like not like Every Time I Die, if they did that, it would be so boring.
They'd be bored. Yeah,
so
no one
boring.
would listen. No one would
So I
listen.
think they're like I don't know if I'm to the opinion that like some people are like totally like, oh, everything needs to sound real. We should go back to recording tape, or like, no, we got technology, everything can be perfect. I think that it just depends on the song.
You can make the
and the
tape
band.
sound recording
Sure.
without the tape.
Yeah.
You don't need the tape. Like that's
Not anymore.
I mean, it just matters.
And it's cool for like, I guess, if you can do it.
yeah,
But
nostalgia
who
or
the hell,
something.
like, who knows anybody?
Who wants to
Like,
spend
especially if you're like a
Foo
band
Fighters
like...
did that. They fit the
Yeah.
album.
But they're Foo Fighters.
Yeah,
Like, of
whatever.
course
Fuck
they
it. Fuck it. Whatever.
Dude, have you heard the acoustic version of Everlong when it's just him and an acoustic guitar? There's this incredible version of that where it's perfect, but it was just recorded in the same way that we're sitting right here with a microphone right now. He was doing a radio show at like 5 a.m, I think it was.
Are you
or,
talking
like-
about the Howard Stern?
Maybe it was that one. I don't
He
know if it was
did,
that one, but there was one basically.
My Hero on the
uh,
Howard Stern show.
I don't think it was that one. I know it was Everlong.
Right.
And like basically they like were talking to him. He was talking about Everlong. Like, can you just play it? And he's like, well, I don't have a guitar. Like, we got one. And they just put an acoustic guitar, like a crappy acoustic guitar in his lap, and he couldn't say no.
Yeah.
And so he just tuned it to
Yeah.
the song and then went ahead and played it. And it's awesome, man. Like Dave Grohl could do absolutely anything, and it's gonna sound incredible.
Mm-hmm.
That dude's my hero. Speaking of my hero.
So what are you guys looking as far as, obviously you got this music video coming out, that's going to be a big thing. Do you guys have any plans as far as releasing with the EP? Like, you got any big things set up for that?
Yes, and you'll have to wait and see.
Fuck you guys, fuck you.
We'll almost definitely do the video first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be out as like a single with that video, and then
Do you have any ideas as far as marketing that? Like,
Yeah, we've got the album artwork done. I've already started working on like promo videos, and I've already started like having like the YouTube stuff ready, so that way all of that that can get pushed out as quick as possible. We have distribution already set up through like Spotify, all
Very
that's
good.
already taken care of. It's like everything is like ready to go. So like the moment we get that stuff back, we set a date for when we're gonna do it. We can start like ramping up, because like we're gonna push this as like hard as possible.
Yep.
Because I feel like we really have something that we love and is unique to us, and like if we're gonna do it, we're like gonna do it. It's not like, oh, we spent all this time playing these shows and like spending all the money on mixing and or recording and mixing and mastering and all this shit just to kind of like, oh, here's our music. You know what I mean? Screw that. Like,
there's a level where you have to, I think, sometimes you forget that, like, you're an entrepreneur.
yeah,
Like, that's how you have to look at it. Like, you have to become master of all this stuff. Then you have to, like, go 100% on all of it.
yeah. I mean, because I don't want this to be like a hobby anymore, or just something like fun that I do.
Mhm.
Like, I don't want that. Like, and I don't think anybody in our band is like in that mindset, which is why I think why we're usually always on the same page, and it's like the only way to do it is to give that 100% every time you hit the stage, every time you record something, when you're writing music. It's like it needs to be constant. That's why I'm on social media all the time. Like, I literally get on social media just to be relevant. Like, just to like, I will post memes just to be relevant. I know that's lame, but like, I do it. Who cares?
The
Like,
memes do really well, dude. They get
do.
likes.
Like, and I think they're funny, and so like I put myself out there. Like,
Yeah.
I become more personal like through social media, because I want to connect with as many people as possible. So that way, when the time comes and we're ready to put our stuff out there, I'm already like slightly ahead of the game, because there's already people that are already interested,
Yeah.
and people are gonna like get to it. Because if we're ever gonna get past the fun stage of the hobby stuff,
Yep.
and move on to doing bigger and better things with our stuff, we have to. This is like that point. You know what I mean? When this comes out, like, we officially have something that's permanent there now.
Yep.
So.
Fuck, I had something. My brain is clearly not working right. But yeah. Okay, music video, EP. Anything else you guys got in the books?
I mean, really, our strength is playing live shows.
Yeah.
That's probably what we do better than anything else. And it was actually at like a guitar clinic that I went to with Mark Holcomb. It was at one of the music stores in North Carolina. I'm actually blanking on the name of the place. I would shout them out if I could remember. But like after the show, like, and he was hanging around. He hung out for like a couple hours after the clinic was over, just talking to people. And I asked him about stuff, and he was saying that live shows are more important than ever in not only getting people involved, but also making money as a band. Because for whatever reason, even though people have shifted to streaming services to consume music, and so as far as the money on that side, fans and musicians still buy albums, but most consumers don't. For whatever reason, people will still pay high dollar to see a live show. Like, that's why live shows are more expensive than they've ever been. Like, the idea that, like, you're paying, I don't know, $60+ for the worst seats in a stadium to see the Foo Fighters, and like upwards of $1,000 to be in the front row.
Yeah.
Stuff like that is because people will still go for a live experience if you can bring that. And he was saying, like, you're gonna lose money like on touring the first handful of times you do it. You're just gonna do it. But eventually, that's where you're going to build a fan base, and that's where you're going to connect with people, and that's where your vocalist, in that case Dustin, can actually be in the crowd saying hi to people and making friends, and not just being the face of the band, but having people feel like they're part of the community.
Yeah.
That's where all that happens. So I'm glad that our strength is the show, because that's where, right now, business-wise, the money still is. Which is why labels are sometimes giving artists bad deals where they're taking money off of touring.
They're giving all artists bad deals.
Yeah, and like,
because, well, they're just trying to make ends meet.
Right, because like, let's say if you're a record label, previously they could make all the money they ever needed on just record sales, and the artist can make their money off of touring. Well, if the record sales aren't making money, labels got to find someplace to make money. The money is still in shows. So as far as a pure business side, that's still a viable way if you're willing to stick at it long enough to when you could string together enough shows that you're spending a lot of time on the road each year. And I get not everyone would want to do that and spend the majority of their year on the road. But that's why you see even like a big pop star, like a Taylor Swift, spending the majority of a 12-month calendar year on the road. Like, that's unheard of if you talk about like back in the day type stuff, and musicians would maybe, I don't know, tour for less than half of the year, write for most of the year, record for a while, then cycle again. The idea that like a band is going to be touring for 9 months out of the year, that's where they make the money still. That's where
it's crazy. Like, doing a world tour used to be like this like crazy wild thing, which it is, I guess, in the experience of it. But bands are doing that regularly, and they're always doing it, and it's not exclusive to big bands. There's like, you have your smaller bands that are doing it, which is great because I guess it's maybe a little bit easier to make that happen, but you're having to do it because you need that reach. Like, you have to, like, you almost have to do it.
Yeah, so the plan is still to jump
it's
on.
Like, oh, going on a world tour, like, congratulations. Like, it's almost been diminished as, like, that's this is that accomplishment. It's
that
like,
was a sign that you made it.
yeah, and that's not that
That was a
anymore.
step
Now
along
it's just
the way.
like,
Now
now
it's
you're
like,
just, like, getting there.
Great, you made a cover, and you did a metalcore cover of a pop song, and it
Oh,
did well.
God, don't even get me started!
But I mean, it's the kind of thing.
man.
It's just like videos do great. So like being able to push things on YouTube. I mean, that's one of the great things about music now is that, you know, you could out of your hometown have someone in a different country fall in love with your band because of YouTube.
Yeah.
They found a video of you guys
Or
doing whatever you're
Spotify,
doing.
yeah.
Or Spotify or any of this stuff. So it's getting it out on the internet, videos, hopefully film more videos because videos do great, and then playing as many shows as we can, and hopefully
Yeah.
bigger and bigger shows, and just getting smart about it.
And I think ultimately, like, you have to, like, as a musician, and I was actually going to make a Facebook post about this, but I'll just do it on here instead. So I think
A Broccoli and Breakdowns exclusive.
Yeah, this
Dustin
Bigger
Hayes.
reach.
Broccoli
You got a
and
bigger
breakdowns
reach.
so my thoughts on this are pretty interesting. I think musicians, especially local musicians, regional acts, etc., and some big artists are making this mistake. Support. When I hear people complain about local support, go support your locals. Go do this. Go do that. For a monetary benefit is absolutely the most egregious thing I think I've ever heard. I think it's insane. I do not want somebody to come out and support us. Me, this is just me personally. I'm not speaking for the band. I'm speaking for me. Do not come out and see me strictly just because you're just trying to show support. Like, I don't think that is is viable. You know, support me because you like what I'm doing. That when you get there, you're not just like standing around, like you're just kind of there. You know, like that. It bums me out because it's like you're. I don't want pity. I don't need a pity support. I want somebody to be there because they want
pity
it.
fuck.
I want people to come see us because they love what we do, not just as they feel bad. They're like, oh man, I got to go to this local show to show my support. Yeah. Screw that shit. And I'm so tired of hearing people. I'm so tired of hearing people talk about it. Like, and I start thinking about like artists, like I'm talking about artists, like painters, like back in the day, like people who have done some of the greatest things of all time. Where's their monetary benefit at? What did they ever get? Anything that they did, they've made some of the greatest pieces of work ever known. Yeah. And other people are reaping their rewards off of it, but they didn't get anything, yet they continue to still do what they do and do it well. You know what I mean? And I just, you have to realize as a musician, you're an artist. Like, if you're writing music, you're an artist. Are you doing it because you love the art, or are you doing it because you just want to be big or something? Monetary benefit, like, honestly, if we, I mean, it's, again, speaking for me personally, but if as a band we never made, if we made just enough money to be able to continue to do what we do, I would be happy. I don't need, like, I don't want, it would be cool to, like, make a bunch of money and, like, oh, yeah, my kids are going to be set for life if I have them or something like that. That's cool. That's like an icing on the cake. That's like a cool benefit, I guess, if it happened. But like, honestly, if we just got to write music and just kind of made a living out of it, and I could live, you know, comfortably and just
if I can just live neutral.
Yeah, neutral, honestly, just like ride that line and just be able to enjoy the experience of like playing for people and be like meeting people, like, because that is like the greatest thing ever. So if you're coming out to a Seeking Solace show just because you are trying to do your part, I guess that's what people say now. It's like, oh, you need to do your part and support all local music. Like, no, support what you like.
I want people to show up at local shows.
I do too.
Obviously. But I also, I don't know, I have a weird perspective because I kind of like, I like to flip it and be like, yeah, but give them a reason to come. Give them a reason to.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, because there's, like, I just have a ton, I mean, I have a bunch of ideas every day where I'm just like, oh, that's a fucking stupid idea. Don't do that. Yeah. But, like, every once in a while, there's a good idea in there. So, like, I just have, like, ideas as far as, like, okay, I get you want people showing up because they like the music. Which is
I guess
what...
one side of it, but I guess, like, the other thing would just be, like, don't show up because of an obligation. I think that's really what I should say is, like, don't feel like you have to go. Because I have people like in my town that really want to go like see us just to see us. And I'm like, look, I understand like we don't really play close to here, and it's like the fact that you're even mentioning it is like a cool thing. I'm glad that you are paying attention, and that means a lot. And because I guess the other part is I'm tired of people putting on others for not being able to do something. Because that's like the other part is like we have this like expectation that everyone can just always go do whatever they want, and it's just not the case, man. I have a couple people who go with me to like almost every show that I play, but like, and there's others that just can't do it. Like I play on days where they're working, and it's like, but it means a lot that they even are paying attention, and I think that's we need to start like. We as a collective of musicians and artists need to realize that like there are still people that support us. They don't have to be there. Sometimes they just can't be there.
Well, there's someone who is by far, like by quite a long margin, our biggest fan.
Oh yeah.
His name's Gabe. Gabe was the one person at that first show that I mentioned.
Yeah.
Like he was the only person there. And like we have a group chat with Gabe. Like he's like a friend of the band. He's bought a t-shirt, like one of our like not just like the ones we have at the show, but like a custom ordered t-shirt off of our website. He's always asking about new music. Like he'll even send like ideas that he has for music he's written to us, and we talk about it. He's by far our biggest fan, but he hasn't been to a show in, I mean, almost 2 years at this point.
Yeah, he hasn't been
which
to a
you
show
know
since
that's
I've been
because
here.
like he switched his job and he's working at a fire department now. And he's got like a crazy job, work life and stuff like that. And you know what? That's fine. Like he will every chance he gets come to a show. But like you know what? We get it. Like if that's something that like you don't have to do that to be a Giant fan. There's multiple ways to support, and man, like his support means so much to us.
It really does.
He's by quite a long margin. I can say he's our #1 fan, so I'm sure he'll listen to this.
Yeah.
I don't like if like anyone's getting mad at like the fans or whatever. I can't stand that.
That's annoying.
I just can't stand it because like, well, I mean, they're not showing up for a reason. Like, it's not. You're competing with Netflix. Do better than Netflix then.
That's a great line. That's a good
That's the way I look at it. I'm like,
but it is true though.
As you're right. You're competing with whatever else is going on.
Exactly.
And that includes a night in.
yeah.
Wow, dude.
Can you do better than Netflix?
I like it.
I don't know if I can. So like, but that's the way I think about it. I'm like, okay, so like, and I'm not specifically talking about a band. I'm not specifically talking about.
Well, it's any attraction.
It's well, not even. I'm looking at like I'm even thinking bigger. Where I'm like, it's not just about a single band on a single night at one. Like it is. Okay, how many shows are there in this weekend?
Yeah.
You got 5 bands over the Triangle, or you got 5 metal shows all playing the same genre of music over the Triangle area.
Yeah.
I'm like, guess what? You're gonna get you might get half of regular show goers to go to one show that weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, you split that up, like that's 20 people at a show.
Before. I mean, we've played shows on the nights of like
that we expected were going to be really well attended. That weren't. It happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like we played a show
100%.
on the day of like Summer Slaughter last year. So Summer Slaughter was going on at the Ritz. We were playing. I think it was Clayton Beverage.
We did.
Yeah, we played Clayton Beverage. It was actually a good turnout.
That was a
but,
blast.
like, it was really cool. But that happens though. It's like
You were on that show.
Yeah, you were.
Aragon played that show, and so did Valleys. Valleys headlined that one.
You played with Valleys?
Oh yes, that was his birthday. It was his birthday show. It was.
No, it wasn't us then.
I'm pretty sure it was.
We never.
I mixed it up too. Which one was it? Was it when they were on or the Valleys were on? We
The
played
Valleys show was.
I know we played that one.
I want to say, was Fear the Indifference on there?
Yep. They were on one of these 2 shows. I'm blanking on the 2 of them, or mixing
We
them up, I
did
should
play
say.
with you at Clayton Beverage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We played with you. I want to say Attracting the Fall, maybe?
Yep. Oh, you're right. That was that show. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, now I remember.
Was it?
You're right. Yeah. No, you're right about that one. Those are not the same show.
But, like.
That's one of my favorite places to play, I gotta say.
Hell
I
yeah.
love Steven.
What a guy,
Guy's
dude.
awesome.
If anyone who doesn't realize, like, so normally the way that bands get paid would either be by selling tickets, and then let's say a ticket is $12, the band gets $2 of that. So if you sell a bunch of tickets, you might make some money off of that and cover your gas, or not. Maybe you don't.
Or the headliner gets all the money and they get to choose if they divvy it up.
Right. So if you're like a headliner, you might get a guarantee, or you might get a cut of the door, or whatever it might be. The way that Steve does it at Clayton Beverage is awesome. He literally just said, okay, like I'll keep all of the beer money. You guys keep all the ticket money. So if there's 4 bands that play, those 4 bands usually just end up, like 4 local bands, they'll probably just split it even.
Yep.
So like every single cent that you pay to get in there actually goes to those bands, which is unbelievably cool of him to do. So that's one of the reasons I think locals like playing shows there is because it supports a guy who's supporting us.
Yep.
Like that's some place that we should all go to those shows and buy drinks while you're there too.
Yeah.
He's doing a really good thing
And tip him.
for us. Yeah, for real. Because it's not the norm what he's doing. Like if he did it the typical way a venue would do it, no one would even call him an asshole. That would just be normal.
Yeah. You
He's
wouldn't think
choosing
anything
to
of
do
it.
something that's better for
But
us.
I
and
think it's
so
also
unbelievably
benefiting
fair.
him more too.
I think so.
Because he has regular people that show up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
the
not
show,
like
the show that
Clayton's big.
that he reached out to us and we ended up booking the show
Yep.
for like Nova Mortis.
No Mortis played by Kings,
Played by
us,
Kings, yeah.
and then Reason to Find, who you just
Yeah.
had an episode with. We're the headliner of that one.
They're so awesome. Shouts
love
out,
them.
shouts
You got
out
the hat
to
on?
Reason to Find.
Oh, he has a Reason to Find hat. I was like,
that's
you got the
sick.
hat
They're so kick ass.
on? But yeah, no, I just think like I just have a bunch of ideas. We'll talk after this a little bit
Yeah.
because like I have ideas I'm gonna throw off you that I don't want to disseminate yet.
Hey.
Look who's keeping secrets now.
I am full of secrets. Are you kidding me? Fuck. No. I just have ideas as far as like shows that like I like to bounce off people.
Yeah.
But because like there's clearly more that we have to do if we want, because like fans are out there, but there's more that you have to do. You just have to step it, because like I think that times have changed.
Yeah.
And the shows haven't necessarily caught up with that,
Yeah.
because like you can see with like, I mean, there's rap shows, there's hip hop shows around here that are selling out venues.
Yeah.
So like, why not?
Local stuff too.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
why not
easy.
us? Like,
We should be able
there's
to
no
do
reason
that.
we can't.
Nope.
So,
Be able to have that reach, man.
but what else you want to promote? Shameless plugs.
Shameless plugs.
Seeking Solace Band is how you can find us on most social
Do you
media.
guys have a website?
Yes.
SeekingSolaceBand.com.
Okay.
If you go to SeekingSolaceBand.com, there'll be the link to all the social media. We update that with any shows we have coming up too. So obviously you can check things like Facebook on the events, but usually that website is the first place we post it there. So there'll be a link to the shows, and if you want to buy tickets for those shows that support us, we put a link on there through that.
Yep.
And so we do all of that in-house. Dustin creates the website to go through PayPal, and then we put a list at will call with your name on it. So there's no processing fees because we don't pay
You're
anyone
like
else for
shaking your head.
that.
I'm like, no.
Huh?
You were like kind of like shaking your head. I'm like, no.
Oh no,
You
no.
don't?
I'm just thinking. Sorry, I'm just
But
like,
so there's we don't pay anyone else to do that. We put in the time, or really Dustin puts
Yeah.
in the time to do that. So that way you also don't have to pay any extra. So if it's a $12 ticket, it's not a $15 ticket with $3 processing. It's actually $12, and that supports us. So if there is one of those shows where it's a $12 ticket and the band gets $2, that will go through us. So that's a great way to support.
and our merch is on there too. as
Merch is on
which we
there.
get asked about a lot.
Yeah, and so we are actually we'll be getting, once we get the EP run here, new merch to bring to shows, but we always will have some kind of temporary designs up there on the website. So if you want to get a t-shirt that's something kind of crazy that it'd be more expensive to do a large run of, you can get that off of there as a custom order.
Yeah.
That's really
That's gonna-
smart. That's really smart.
that's
Yeah,
a-
it's like a direct to print thing. So you order it, they print and ship. They
Where do you go through?
Printful, I think is.
Okay.
I think it's the name of the website. It's really cool. You can do your design, set up what sizes you want to run, set up like obviously the type of fabric you want to use, like whatever type of shirt you want to use.
I'll plug for Dustin here if you like any of the visuals, like the design that we do.
It's your boy.
It's your boy J Air. Yeah,
Yeah.
so Dustin J Air Design, is that right?
JR Design, yes. So yeah, so like the music videos that we've done so far, I did all of that from scratch. I was just talking to a record label, a local label, about doing some work with them, but it's not finalized yet. But I'll be putting out a bunch of lyric videos most likely.
There's some other bands covers that he's done before too for
Yeah.
EPs, so you
Yeah,
can.
like Through the Indifference, their EP cover I did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
hell
did-
yeah.
I did that one.
Hell yeah, dude.
Constellation Atlas, RIP. When their stuff comes out, I did their album cover and a music video that they'll be putting out was done by me as well.
It's another
I was gonna ask, do you guys? Because like this is a idea that I like kind of ran into when I was researching or whatever. With the website, do you have any like stickies or anything where you get their emails so that we can collect emails?
I don't because it's. I mean,
Just wondering.
I don't do that just because emails are annoying as shit.
All right.
And I think email marketing works a lot if you really like spend the time to do it properly and set it up in a way that's like not annoying to people and people actually pay attention to it. But I just haven't gotten to that point just because it's hard to get people to pay attention to emails.
100%, yeah.
Yeah, and I just don't have the time. Like, I spend a lot of time like just keeping the website updated in itself because I'm doing this all about like this part. It's like it's kind of just what I took over, and it's something that I manage on my own, along with like trying to go to school and like doing other music stuff and blah 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 blah. And so it's kind of like,
Yeah, no, I was just wondering because like it was something I like came across and I was thinking about. I was like, oh, that'd be because the worst thing is like with Facebook, you don't actually reach. You might reach like was it like
yeah,
3 to 10%
yeah, it's
of your
it's
of
bad.
like the people of the likes that you have, the people following you, which is just terrible.
Terrible.
Like it's terrible. So I was just thinking about that. If
If you see it
run
pop
the
up
stickies,
in the near future, it'll be because I'm taking the idea now. And
you're welcome, everyone. Steal it. It's a great idea
and
if
it's
you
a really,
put the time in.
It's easy to implement. It's just more like the keeping up with it, making sure you have
Mm-hmm.
because you don't want to do too much because it becomes like spam. You don't want to spam people, but at the same time, you do want it to have it semi-regular.
But if you do like a once a month like new type newsletter thing,
Yeah.
that's 12
Actually,
12 emails in a year.
One
Whatever.
of my all-time favorite, Tool actually has been doing a newsletter for like 15, 16 years. Actually, probably longer than that. Damn. Well, it is longer than that because it's been about 20 years. They've been doing a newsletter every single month for almost 20 years. And it's cool. I've read almost every single one of them since I was like a kid, which is wild. Every month when it's released, I go check it out. And it's usually actually just a bunch of BS, but like
100. I mean, they're not writers.
yeah, exactly, because they have like this other person that does their newsletter for them, and it's usually just a bunch of random BS. But then like sometimes you'll like throw like a little snippet in about there's some progress on an album, and then like continue on the rant about something else. You know what I mean? But it's pretty cool. And honestly, we should probably do something like that.
It's
Maybe
just a
not,
good
in that same way,
promotion where like one, you can build this routine where like, okay, so this podcast is coming out every Wednesday.
Yeah.
Like, so you can get this routine of like every Wednesday I get in something new. I get new content.
That's
It's
true.
like something to follow. So it's the whole concept of like Facebook. You want to post regularly.
Yeah.
YouTube. The more you upload, the quicker you upload, the more
You're right.
people see it.
You're right.
Just throwing it out there for anyone listening.
In a couple of days, just go to seekingsolace.com, seekingsolaceband.com / never mind. I don't know where I was going with that.
Just go to seekingssolaceband.com.
and just like browse.
Oh, a couple days. Like, what are we? You got something?
Yeah, I want to do an email subscription. Like,
Oh,
I'm
okay.
actually gonna
I
set it
thought
up
you were
as a
saying
pop-up.
something. Okay.
Yeah, because I've seen it before.
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
how to implement it, but I just haven't done it.
Just a little sticky, and then you give them
Yeah.
you give them incentive, like some kind of incentive to do it.
Yeah.
A free download of, you do a free download of The End We Deserve or Survive.
Yeah.
That way they get that content now, and it also keeps that fresh on them. They put in, it's like a whole you put in more effort.
Yeah.
They went to your website, they put in this effort. It makes them more not obligated, that's the wrong word, but like it's a bad word.
It's more fair.
It's more like incentive to
And other people
follow
do that
you.
too. Like
Yeah.
other like because I do have some email subscriptions that I get every like week or every couple weeks. And I started by like they had something that I wanted. They were like, "Oh, we're giving this away for free if you sign up." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'll do it."
Mm-hmm.
And like some of their letters are really cool. And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that's interesting." I'll go back to your website and just like check out some more stuff. You know what I mean? So it definitely does work if you can put the effort into it.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to say I'm lazy, but
Well, I mean, no. It's the like band life grind where
Yeah.
like, I don't know if you guys work full-time jobs or not.
Yep.
Yeah.
yeah,
And like you said, school,
yeah.
which is trying to work and do school and then also do the band thing. That's
so I
a
don't-
good killer.
I'm thankful that I don't work a full-time job anymore, so I'm off of that. So I really just focus on school every day, and then music and design, and
Yeah.
I guess design has become my work. I feel like I ended up actually working more between school and doing the design stuff than I ever did working any job ever.
But it's stuff that you
Like to do,
enjoy. Yeah.
So
It's the same thing with like you learning to record. It's just there's a passion involved. There's like it's not really work.
Yeah.
It is work, but it's
It
not
is.
work.
And I'm willing to put in like so many more hours into something that I actually am interested in than not. Like working on that song. I spent way too much of my time that I'd ever care to admit, but it came out as good as I could make it, so I'm very proud of that.
Alright, guys. Anything else?
Do we have anything cool?
You guys
Of course, we got cool stuff.
Can we?
Do we have an idea for E EP?
We've kind of made this mistake, never publicly announcing anything, but like telling friends, like, oh, we're gonna have it done at this point. But
Then
like
we
you
deserve
never,
it.
you
And we
never,
deserve
you
it.
never know when until it's done. So once we have the EP finished and in hand, we will then decide the
Okay.
day it's coming out, so we can have it that day actually be correct. So we will get that out as soon as possible.
Yeah.
We want it to be out now. We're ready.
Yeah.
Please, for the love of God.
We're ready to roll on it. So it won't be long.
The Summer Slaughter thing, come back to that. I don't know if you guys have details or anything behind it.
So besides, like, it's June 22nd. It's at the Blind Tiger in Greensboro.
To be a battle of the bands.
That's
a battle
what
of
I
bands,
thought, yeah.
yeah.
There'll be
And
15-minute sets, 4-song max, a bunch of bands, and then
You
basically
get 4 songs in 15 minutes.
4-song max. That's why.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
what
we
I
cannot
was
play 4
I was
songs.
about to say.
we're gonna have 3
damn!
songs. We're gonna have 3 songs in
Damn.
15 minutes, and so basically, the way it works is a really cool idea. So basically, you sell tickets, and the more tickets you sell, the later in the show you get to play.
Okay.
So you're if you bring more support to the show for all the bands, you get a theoretically better slot.
Yeah.
There'll be a selection committee who actually grades the bands and chooses who's going to win the spot. But there's also I love this part of the idea. The bands will vote on their favorite band, and there'll be like an honorable mention winner picked by the other artists.
Yeah.
So
You
really
can't vote
cool
for
switch to
yourself?
that.
You can.
I'd vote
You
for
can
my-
either vote-
everyone's just gonna vote for themselves.
Well, I think
but-
it's like you get 3 votes type.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
everyone's gonna vote for
Okay,
themselves,
yeah,
and
yeah,
they
yeah.
get 2 other
Yeah.
votes basically. So it's going to be a great event.
Who's
I'm
put
pretty psyched
is
about
Cranky Loud doing this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know Dear Desolate's also playing that. That's the only
Yeah,
other band
yeah,
I
yeah.
know is going to be there, but they're not playing in competition. They're just...
They're
it.
just-
I'm sure a lot of the bands have already been determined, but it hasn't been announced yet.
Yeah, yeah.
So
yeah.
as we get closer to that, this will become
Yeah.
an official
Uh-huh.
event.
That's going to be a really fun weekend.
But yeah,
That's-
contact us if you want to support us on this. We'll give you all the details as we get them.
Do you have an idea as far as ticket costs? Probably
Shit.
15-ish.
I think it's like 13.
13. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Something like that.
Fish
Cheap.
on.
I like cheap tickets.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
It's
that
a lot.
I think that's a great idea as far as local music because
Yeah.
Yeah.
who's on that show?
I don't know.
Is it just one show?
The Summer Slaughter show.
Yeah.
So the Summer Slaughter is a
There's so much-
series. It'll travel. It's
Yeah.
but I don't know who will be on
I don't think they've
the
even announced it yet.
Okay.
our region's date.
I'm
Yeah.
sure they're probably about to because
It's getting close.
Because it's that show is on the 22nd. I would imagine June 22nd. I would imagine they were going to announce something soon.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually curious because Between the Buried and Me did last year. They were the headliner
Yeah.
last year for that
Mm-hmm.
with like Veil of Maya and a couple of like other bands that were. Because Never Eye, they did the same thing last year. Never Eye won that.
Yeah.
Charlotte. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. If you haven't seen Never Eye, go see Never Eye.
I've heard about them
Plugs.
multiple times. And
Plugs. Earplugs.
Go see Never. Yeah. Just go see Never Eye.
They are so
Everybody
sick.
should see Never Eye.
Did we play with them?
We did. We played with them twice.
Was that the one in Roxborough?
We played that one. We played them in Roxborough. We played them at Drunk Horse once.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wasn't I there for that one?
The one at Drunk Horse, you were. That was when they were on tour with. Who were they on tour with Blessing a Curse from Florida. They were touring with them, so they had half of that tour with Blessing a Curse, and Never Eye was incredible. And then on their way back for that, when they were driving back to Charlotte, they did a show in Roxborough. We also played with them on that one. That's another band that you should check out, which I'm guessing a lot of people in North Carolina haven't heard, is Blessing a Curse.
Yeah.
They are killer band, and their singer Joshy has become a friend of mine. I've met up with him when I was in Florida over the summer for Warped Tour because they played on that. So like they got one of the like
One of the
local spots on that. But they played in a killer set there. Their new album is awesome. So I bet a lot of people in North Carolina haven't heard them yet. Definitely worth checking out, especially their new stuff. It's awesome. It's really aggressive, really good music.
I guess I would want to say, I guess because we're kind of wrapping up here, but I definitely want to give like a huge like shout out and thanks to like seriously like every single member of like every single band that we've either ever played with and or still comes out to see us play. Every person who is like giving us great feedback and who still comes out to see us wherever we go, because I don't know, that shit just means like so fucking much to me, especially like as somebody like when I joined the band not knowing a damn person, I knew nobody, and from like the very, very, very beginning, all I've gotten from everybody is just love. Like it's just, there's just so much respect, and like sometimes I do feel like I get a big head out of this because the people are always showing so much like support and love, and I'm like, it's overwhelming. But like seriously, it means so much to like me and like the rest of the band for sure, to like to see the people that like we look up to, especially like in the local scene, who like continue to like give us like all the feedback that they can, or like show up and like throw down with us, or like or take us like kind of under their wing a little bit. Like it's helped us like as a band as a whole, help us move forward and continue to like to have that drive to want to be better. But yeah, so shout out to like everybody. There's too many names so I could never remember. So I mean, there's just too many people. It's like it's sometimes it's a little overwhelming, but like man, like every single person is like deserves so much credit for where we're at now, for sure.
Oh yeah. Matt, any shout outs?
Nah, man.
Shout out
He doesn't
to-
like anyone.
Yeah.
Shout out to all my family and all my fans back home. Back in man, yo, what's up, man?
We've mentioned it. We've mentioned a ton of bands and people and whatnot throughout, so
Yeah, because
we could keep going with that for a long time.
Oh yeah, for sure.
This happens every time.
I guess we'll just have to come back on another time and
100%.
in a year or two, and then do this again.
Maybe when we have
After
an
the
EP,
EP.
and a music video, and a tour.
Oh man, I want to tour so fucking bad.
Ooh, oh yeah.
I want to live like shit. Just for, like, 2 weeks.
Right?
I don't know why. I don't know why I want to do
I
that.
love the idea.
I do too. Like, I haven't showered in 3 days. I'm using like baby wipes,
If that.
if that. Yeah, really.
That. I will. I've just thinking about. I was like thinking about the other day. I was like, I could live out of my car. I was like looking at my car. I was sitting in the passenger seat.
I could totally live in my car.
I-
For sure. I
yeah.
could totally do that.
I like leaned the seat back and I was like, oh, I could sleep here. Okay.